Chiefs fans, this is the Sports Radio 810 WHB Postgame Show, presented by the Missouri Lottery. Remember to play it forward with the Missouri Lottery and CBD American Shaman. Life is better with a feather.
Just a big exhale to start this edition of the Sports Radio 810 WHB Postgame Show. Just take a breath. The Chiefs are victorious. They are above 500. That was, believe it or not, their first game without a turnover in a million years. And none of it felt easy. None of it felt particularly smooth. And it wasn't until the last meaningful play of the game that Patrick Mahomes looked like Patrick Mahomes. But here we are anyway. Welcome into the Sports Radio 810 WHB Postgame Show. My name is Joshua Brisco. I'll be with you for the next few hours before we hand you over to Sunday Night Football here on 810. We'll get you partway through the third quarter, if not by halftime. Beards McFly on the other side of the glass, running the whole show. Rudy Salazar roaming around and producing from orbit, basically, much like Jordan Love's mom, just watching the thing from orbit. There's a lot that we can talk about here. One thing that I can't help but immediately think about is something I just saw Mitchell Schwartz tweet about, which is, what do you think the score of that game is if Aaron Rodgers plays? And boy howdy, that's a good question. Not 13-7. I said on our predictions video on the 810 socials before the game from earlier this week, my favorite prop bet of the week was the Packers to score over 19.5 points with Jordan Love at quarterback, and both teams combined barely hit that over. This feels a little bit familiar to how last week's game went and how last week's show went. And I talked about this some in our pregame show before the game today here. The Packers are a better team than the Giants. Although right now, Daniel Jones would be the best quarterback of those two teams combined, with Aaron Rodgers being out. And I figured that unless the Chiefs looked dominant somewhere, that this game would feel like a bit of a mixed bag. Now look, first and foremost, I want to make sure we actually start with very earned praise, because we have an opportunity to do that for this team today. The Chiefs' defense was legitimately good. Like, very good. The Packers didn't convert a third down until late in the fourth quarter. I think it was near the halfway point of the fourth quarter they converted their first third down. And for better, for worse, for whatever you got from this game today, they held Jordan Love's version of the Packers, which still has Aaron Jones, which still has A.J. Dillon, which still has Devontae Adams. They held Jordan Love's version of the Packers scoreless through three quarters, and then one deeply unpleasant touchdown late in the game because Jordan Love found and targeted and exposed you-know-who.
Who's that, Josh?
I can't remember his name. He plays safety sometimes. And at some point it becomes bullying of a, adult. Nope, Beards just held in a joke, and Beards, I just want to say I appreciate it. I don't know what your joke was going to be. I have a couple educated guesses. Glad you kept it to yourself. If you want to sound off on the game yourself, you can call in 913-381-810. We will hear from Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. I would guess we'll probably hear from L'Jarius Sneed. A great interception by him. Not only did the Chiefs not turn the ball over, they won the turnover battle today. And all of those things, again, with a good defensive performance, still didn't necessarily feel super satisfying. You know, like whenever you're like dinner hungry and then you have a snack and you're like, well, I'm less hungry than I was before, but I still would like a cheeseburger. That Cliff Bar was nice, but I would still like to have a full sandwich. That's kind of how that's kind of how this team has left me feeling, particularly these last 2 weeks. Now, look, here's the other thing. The Chiefs are now 5-4, and the AFC West is bonkers. The AFC right now is bonkers. If you missed this earlier today, the Bills lost to the Jags 9-6. The Buffalo Bills, who were on the verge of becoming the AFC's unquestioned top-tier team, lost to maybe the worst team in the conference. And that's just kind of how it goes. Sometimes the NFL is totally turned on its head that way. And I mention that not to necessarily even make you feel better about how this game tonight went. I do think there are legit good things, and there are legitimately very concerning things. But whenever you have an opportunity to take advantage of a team playing their backup quarterback because their starting quarterback didn't get vaccinated, it wasn't even like he got hurt playing football. He just dressed up as John Wick at a Halloween party and wasn't vaccinated. Whatever. You take whatever breaks you can get. No previous team anywhere on the Chiefs' schedule who they lost to has offered to give back a victory because the Chiefs don't usually turn the ball over that many times. Like whenever Clyde Edwards-Helaire fumbled at the end of the Ravens game, none of the Ravens players went, "Hold on, man, you're not really a fumbler," and then just picked up the ball and handed it back to him. So the Chiefs shouldn't apologize for winning this game, but also for fans, for analysts, for people who are just kind of interested in the why more so than just the results. It's a results-based business, obviously, right? But the process matters. If you're more focused on the process tonight, I don't blame you. I, generally speaking, am more interested in the process because just saying Chiefs won, bye, is a very short radio show. I don't know if you feel better today than you did after the Giants game or if this game was less satisfying to some of you. I'd be totally willing to hear either side of that take because I'm having a hard time differentiating my feelings. We're going to get a special team shout out on the Beards. You read them in my headset just then. I'll circle back on how I'm feeling right now. But give us who we're going to hear from at the podium today.
Via Todd Lebo, we will get Mahomes, Frank Clark, L'Jarius Sneed, and MVP of the game, Tommy Townsend.
Beautiful. I haven't heard from Tommy Townsend in a long time. That should be kind of interesting. He was great today. Sneed, and we haven't heard from him in a while.
Kept those laces on the right side.
That's also true. You're right. That's a good point. Yeah, not only did he punt very well, which he was apparently able to, he was finally allowed to do, he also was better at holding than the Packers holder, who I assume was also their punter, but I got to be honest, I missed that detail. I don't know. Here's where I end up between these last two games, between Chiefs-Giants and Chiefs-Packers. I was more impressed by the defense today, and I do think some of that is legitimate. Talking about this pregame, a more aggressive Spags with blitzes that get home are great, but also you've got to be able to get pressure with 4 on a regular occasion. You need Frank Clark and Chris Jones to make some messes, even if someone else has to clean it up. They did that today. Successfully. Often. Plus, you saw Spags get into his playbook a little bit deeper and say, yeah, we're going to go ahead and send some zero blitzes here. We're gonna really make Jordan Love beat us. And it worked. I think some of that's legitimate. Now, do I think all of that same stuff works against Aaron Rodgers? I do not. No. That would have gone very differently. They were also able to stay in base a decent percentage of the time, from what I could tell. You saw a lot of Willie Gay, Nick Bolton, and Anthony Hitchens all on the field together at the same time. That is a legitimate development that I think is worth noting. You got a great play from L'Jarius Sneed. Really, 2 great plays from L'Jarius Sneed. One of them was picked. One of them was a pass breakup. And there were a couple of plays where you go, that could have gone better. But they only really had one disastrous play in the secondary. you have a couple of blips, but defensively, you'll sign up for this effort. How much do you have to adjust for it being a quarterback making his first start? I don't know. Because it is who they were playing. Again, if due to a crazy NFL scheduling quirk, if the Chiefs and Packers were playing again next week and Aaron Rodgers was going to be back for that game, I would pick the Packers to win that game. But the Chiefs did win tonight. And the defense was good against Jordan Love. Is that going to matter against Derrick Carr? Maybe. Is it going to matter against Dak Prescott? Probably not. But you can take that part of it today. Now, I think we got to this point on the pregame show, and I've had this mindset now for a while, and I still have it, and it's not going to reflect great on the actual results here. But I was more hopeful about the offensive performance we would see tonight than I would be for the defensive performance. Partially because you've got the not the rookie quarterback, but the first-time starting quarterback. And one way or another, you get a little bit of wiggle room for the Chiefs defense going up against this offense, and you get what you get. Offensively, though, the Packers are pretty good defensively. Offensively being the Chiefs side of things. The Packers have a solid defense that doesn't have any game-wrecking singular element. None of the bosses are screaming off the edge, but it's a good defense with some good pieces. If not a bunch of game wreckers. And so I was hoping that we might see a version of the Chiefs offense that looked really familiar tonight in a good way. Get a real defense. Maybe your defense has a little bit of a margin for error because they're going up against Jordan Love, but you have good competition, better than the Giants. And maybe you start to hit your stride a little bit. Try to find your sweet spot a little bit. Maybe it's running the ball a little bit more often. Maybe it's sprinkling in a deep shot here or there. Maybe it's just taking the little stuff. Like for the second week in a row, they did an excellent job of in the very first drive and then had a hard time replicating that kind of production. And so I just think that the Chiefs continue for the 9th straight week here. I think they continue to be a really interesting team in a really interesting position because what I was hoping to see from this offense tonight didn't happen. Patrick Mahomes, for the first time in his career, averaged less than 5 yards per, I think it was actually 5 yards per completion is what people were, 5 yards per attempt. It was what it would have been, I think. He averaged 4.5 yards per attempt today. At one point, he was averaging 2.7. He was averaging less than 5 yards per completion, which is crazy. They ran the ball 25 times. A couple of those runs are Mahomes's. You get probably 23 total designed carries, one of them being Tyreek Hill's that lost a few yards relatively late in the game. And Darrell Williams and Derrick Gore averaged just a little bit less per carry than Patrick Mahomes averaged per pass attempt. That's crazy. And even whenever you're in take what the defense gives you mode, is not a number that you want to have in that order or have be that close. And that's not just me not liking the style. And again, to a large extent, you see all these two deep safety looks. You need to be in linebackers backpedaling at the snap. You should be running the ball, and you should be expecting 4 or 5 yards per carry doing it. I have no problem with that style whenever you're seeing teams play the Chiefs as they have. Packers played some zone tonight. You saw some Travis Kelce completions where he was clearly in some zone soft spots. But I have no problem with playing a style that fits what the defense is giving you. You have to do that to some extent. We've been talking about it as a necessity for the last few weeks. What concerns me is where it struggles. What concerns me is 13. Now, the very last play of the game, the last meaningful play of the game, as I said earlier, Patrick Mahomes did a Patrick Mahomes thing. Tyreek Hill ran a crazy busted play route that was good enough there. And you got some of the Mahomes magic. Awesome. Glad to see it. But so late to see that first real glimmer. And also, so many times where you had an opportunity there off of the kicked punt, off of some decent field position, where you just saw them continue to struggle for one reason or another. They're such a weird football team, guys. They're such a weird football team. Special teams was great. Offense did precisely enough. Barely. And if Mason Crosby hits his 40-yard field goal and that other one doesn't get blocked, and if the seams are all pointed in the right direction, then we're talking about this game being tied. Now, the Chiefs would have been into field goal ranges, but also the Packers would have been in field goal range earlier on their last drive. So you can't play what if the whole way through. All I know is that, once again, nothing felt particularly easy. And I don't know if my opinion of this team changed at all. My opinion of the rest of the conference did a little bit today. And maybe less opinion of and more just like the numbers changed today. Listen to some of these final scores, and then we'll get you Patrick Mahomes' interview that he just did on the field. Then we'll take a few calls and then get to pressers, I think, if Beards will give me the all go on that. The Browns beat the Bengals, who were at the top of the AFC like 2 weeks ago. Browns beat the Bengals 41-16. Chiefs obviously beat the Browns back in week 1. The Broncos beat the Cowboys after the Broncos started super hot, got really cold again. Cowboys got Dak Prescott back. Broncos won that game 30-16. 2 blowouts there. The Giants, who I just told you, the Chiefs' victory over the Giants last week just didn't really do much for me other than being a tick in the win column. They beat the Raiders 23-16. The Chiefs are in a tight race with the Raiders, with the Broncos, with the Chargers. And you just saw the Broncos win a game that they were not supposed to win after losing games they weren't supposed to lose necessarily. The Raiders just lost to the Giants. And the Chargers barely got by the Eagles 27-24. They had to win that fourth quarter there to lock that game up. Chiefs beat the Eagles much easier than that. The Chiefs beat the Giants and the Raiders didn't. The Chargers beat the Chiefs head-to-head. Chiefs are going to get the Raiders next week on Sunday Night Football. Get your corkboard and your red yarn and go ahead and try to build me a power ranking in the AFC that makes sense to you. Because I think with the transitive property at this point, you can pretty much put it in any order you want. The Bills lost to the Jags, and neither team scored double-digit points. Chiefs-Packers had a final score of 20, and it wasn't the lowest scoring game played by an AFC contender this week. What are we doing? What are we talking about? This is ridiculous. So, again, if you want to be an optimist, hey, the Chiefs won this game. They would have lost if Aaron Rodgers was playing. But you know what? The offense does not look like itself, still fine. But they didn't lose to the Giants. So they might be in a better spot in the AFC. They're definitely in a better spot in the AFC West right now than they were yesterday. They picked up one of the Raiders and just stayed even with the Broncos and the Chargers because all three of them won today.
They're a half game behind the Bills.
Go back mentally to wherever you were. That was to everybody, right, Beard? It's not just to me? Okay.
Yes.
You said it so quick that I had a hard time gauging if that was just in my headphones or if that was for all to hear. Think about where you were emotionally, mentally, maybe physically after the Bills game, after Chiefs-Bills. Now, the Bills would have the head-to-head tiebreaker for seeding and everything. But they're a half game back of Buffalo.
I will also
Bills were on a bye last week, I think, right? 2 weeks ago?
Maybe.
2 weeks ago, I think.
I will point out all four of Kansas City's losses this year, all four of those teams are at the very, very top of the division. Or of the conference.
I think I'm trying to parse exactly how this would have gone. I guess this would have been at the time. I think I saw a stat that this is the Chiefs' first victory over a team with a winning record. Now, the Browns have a winning record now, but they would have been 0-0 at the time. And the Eagles and Washington and the Giants all stink. So, I mean, that would all track if you're just doing it from at the time of the game. So, the charts there, the seeding and all of that stuff, where they land in the AFC, that all matters. But also, as Eric Eager of Pro Football Focus just tweeted out, if Aaron Rodgers plays this game, the Chiefs lose by 3 scores. If everything else would have gone the way that it did, but the Packers just swapped Aaron Rodgers back in for Jordan Love, probably. That's probably right. Crazy. But the last play was fun. We'll talk more about where things worked and where things didn't. But first, here's Patrick Mahomes live from the field talking to Fox.
Alongside a happy and probably partially relieved Patrick Mahomes. We talked to you this week, Patrick. You said it's not about making plays, it's about winning games. What did it take to win this one?
Yeah, I mean, it took a defense that stepped up. I mean, these last few weeks, this defense has really came into its own. And offensively, just like last week, we got to get better, keep grinding out. But I will say I'm proud of the guys keeping their mind right and finishing the game the right way and getting the win.
A huge third down conversion when you most needed it late in the fourth quarter. How would you describe the reaction that came out of you?
Yeah, I mean, it was a lot of frustration that kind of finally came out. I mean, I have a lot of trust in these guys on this team, and Tyreek made a great play and made a big-time catch at a big-time moment.
Patrick, you've been at the pinnacle early in your career. You had a chance to cross the field, talk a little bit to Jordan Love making his first start. What did you share?
Yeah, I mean, I told him just to keep the process. I mean, I sat for a full year before I even came out and started playing behind Alex Smith. And I mean, such a great guy behind. He gets to sit behind with Aaron Rodgers and just learn, and then your time will come when it comes.
Getting a win, that's what it's about. Appreciate you, Patrick.
Yeah, appreciate y'all. Thanks.
There's Patrick Mahomes from Fox just a few minutes ago. Let's take a couple of calls, and eventually we'll hear from Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, Frank Clark, L'Jarius Sneed, and Tommy Townsend from the podium. But first, we'll open it up with Butch. Butch, what's on your mind?
Gentlemen, how about those Chiefs?
How about them, Butch?
Look, a couple quick ones I'll get out of the way. Look, we go back to it and we say you just get a win. In this league, you just need to stack up a couple of them. And we're getting there, guys. 2 in a row, finally, for the first time in the season. Was that the expectation? Yeah, I'm sure it was the expectation for me. I'm not sure it was the expectation for you, JB. It was the expectation for me that our team would be able to come in here on their floor, on their field, and be able to handle whatever it was the Packers were going to throw at them. I know they had some talent. I wasn't really worried about that. The defensive side of the ball, I mean, what can you say? With your offense, what can you say? It's tough because it's no longer about matchups anymore with them. They're just trying to get out of their own way. There was no Eric Stokes out there. There was no Kiki Kingsley. He was out. I didn't hear Dean Lowry's name called at all. Eric Stokes, he didn't even play. He got hurt in warm-up. Mm-hmm. That's one of their best corners. So you go out there, they're missing guys along the defensive line. They still do pretty well against your run. They still do even better against your pass. So, but the takeaway is you didn't turn the ball over. That's the takeaway.
Yeah.
You went the whole game without an interception or a lost fumble. So you did that. That will take you going into next week. Defensively, this is the best game that they've had. Like, simply put, I know you gave up a late one. to hit the name that shall not be mentioned, but you gave up a deep one. It happens. Look, you're one step closer. I swear to you. You can have a game where you play well offensively. You had a little bit of magic there to ice the game from Patrick Mahomes. You're one play away, guys. It's high-leverage situations on these big plays. You only get 3 or 4 attempts a game, but you hit 1 or 2. That's what's going to open it up. Listen to me. That's what's going to open it up, JB. Be waiting for it next week. It's going to happen. Savor the flavor.
Appreciate it, Butch. I'm hopeful. I don't mind, by the way. There was one of those deep shots where the broadcast took a couple minutes to talk about how Kelsey was open more underneath and that Mahomes should have taken that. And he should have. Like, I'm not telling you that is incorrect. It would have been nice to just keep the chains moving there. But Patrick Mahomes taking deep shots to try to get that back into the offense is generally fine by me. I also understand that it's hard to do that whenever you're facing these particular coverages over and over and over again, and that maybe more of the underneath stuff keeps it moving. The issue on top of that issue is that really slow plotting version of this offense is not fun and isn't really has not been productive. Let's try to get through at least a couple calls here before we start going to press conferences. Gary's up next. What's up, Gary?
Well, after watching that game tonight, yeah, you're happy you won. It's just, if I'm the Chiefs, I'm giving Aaron Rodgers a game ball, just like if Rodgers would have played, they would have given Spagnuolo a game ball. I mean, I just, I don't know what to expect. What I did like, though, was the final play with Mahomes. It looked like the old Mahomes there.
Yep.
Hopefully, maybe that's something that'll get him jump-started, because that's the one that's most concerning to me. But, guys, I'm going to end on a positive note for once. How about those special teams? Great show, guys. Keep it up.
Wow, we got a rejuvenated Gary. What? Beards, call Gary back and just make sure he's doing okay. I've never heard that much joy in his life, in his voice. No, it's in his life. I don't know his life. I've never heard that much joy in his voice before. Wow. All right, let's keep it moving. Frazier, you're up next. What's on your mind, Frazier? Oh no, Frazier, you got us? There's no way, right? He wasn't on hold for as long as he was that first time. I'm going to put him back on hold. If he's, maybe he's muted or something, we'll circle back. Which means Dan gets to jump up the line. What's up, Dan?
Hi, Josh. How you doing? Boy, how about those special teams? It always helps when, Maxine Crosby misses the field goal and a good block punt. And I got to agree, Josh. You got to run the ball. I didn't mind throwing it, but you have to get 1 yard when she went for it. I don't mind passing them, but Andy should just run it down their throats. Yeah. You got Gore back there and Darrell Williams. And how about the defense? Steve with the interception, and Tyron Matthew just missed that pick six, early in the game. But it'll come next week. Let's take care of their car. Take care of yourself, Josh.
Appreciate it, Dan. Thank you. The Raider week's going to be interesting because I don't know what either of these teams are. Just a real quick refresher. Let's play this game really fast here, and then we'll take a couple more calls. The Chiefs let's go their last 4 games. Crushed by the Bills, beat Washington in a second half effort. Crushed by the Titans, beat the Giants, beat the Packers. The last 5. The Raiders in that stretch lost to the Chargers, lost to the Bears. I forgot they lost to the Bears. John Gruden resigned, and then they went and won at the Broncos versus the Eagles, and then won at the Giants, or lost to the Giants in New York today. Obviously, the Raiders had a whole lot of other, much more serious stuff kind of going around the organization, even since the Gruden stuff, which is crazy. So if you want to say, like, hey, right now the Raiders are just in an incredibly weird spot, you would be right. But purely as a football team, and they also signed Deshaun Jackson today. Oh, yeah. If you missed that happened during the Chiefs game. Deshaun Jackson told Josina Anderson that he's signing with the Raiders. So there's that. The logic would make sense because, again, extenuating circumstances here being obviously horrible, but they just cut Henry Ruggs, who's obviously not playing football probably ever again. And so they're going to try to get some speed from the guy who's always been open for my entire football watching life. Deshaun Jackson has been open 40 yards downfield behind 2 safeties at least once a game. Which, oh man, if he gets a chance to just turn on the Jets next week, I don't know how much he'll play. He's been playing, but getting into the offense and everything, I don't know. But this is going to be a wild week because The Raiders are 5-3. The Chiefs are 5-4, and I really don't know. Them combining for 10-7 in a 17-game season right now is perfect. They seem exactly like those teams.
By the way, I mentioned earlier that all of the teams the Chiefs have lost to are the top 4 in the AFC.
Yeah.
Number 5 is the Raiders.
All right, so we get to find out next week where that cutoff line goes. Is it after 4 or is it somewhere after 5? Beards, do you have the capacity from over there to change the TV? I'm the Simpsons on mute is still, is great, but we could set up for some of that.
Yes, let me do that.
If you can't, I'll do it in here during commercial break. I just figured I'd throw it out there. But first, I'm gonna take another call. So don't go running around anywhere, Beards, because next up we'll go to Andre. Andre, what's on your mind?
Hey, guys, man. Hey, in this league, you got to take a win any way you can get it, man.
Yep.
Look at the scoreboard today. You got to take it. But I tell you, man, the Chiefs fan, I know it's a recurring thing with Andy Reid, man, his resistance to run the football, and I understand with Patrick Mahomes, his ability and skill, but, he's not playing like the same Patrick Mahomes that we've seen over the last few years, and it just seems like for Andy, man, his resistance to adapt and incorporate the running game, man, it is really, really frustrating to see us get down within the 10-yard line, within the 5-yard line, and we're still trying to pass the ball. At that time, I think it was average like 5 or 6 yards a carry. So it's really, really frustrating. It's almost like Andy Reid wants to win a certain kind of way, Most great coaches, I feel silly questioning Andy Reid because I know you know more about football than I do, but so it feels kind of silly questioning him. But it's almost like, man, he's got to win a certain kind of way instead of making that adjustment to win what he got and how his team is playing. So I'm glad to have the win, man. But I guess after 2 straight victories, as a Chiefs fan, I'm still just not all that enthused about the way we're going about our business. Spagnuolo, he's a Super Bowl winning defensive coordinator, so I'm glad to see him work with the defense, having them turn around. But Andy, man, with his stubbornness on, just consistently forcing the game into Patrick Mahomes' hand, and us not trying to let the offensive line and the running backs help him, man. It's kind of frustrating to watch, but we'll take the W any way we can get it, man. You guys take it easy, man, and on to the Raiders.
Appreciate it, Andre. Thank you. I agree with pretty much all of that. I was going to steal the phrase myself of like Andy Reid has forgotten more about offense than I'll ever know. I understand that. And also, he's got some tendencies that have been obvious since he was in Philadelphia. Sometimes those tendencies are what have made him excellent, what have made him who he is. Relying on Patrick Mahomes too much hasn't really been a thing. I heard this week, I don't know why this stuck with me, and I don't know why this is the comparison I'm going to use, but I'm going to do it, I guess. Found out this week, learned this week, saw online this week, that you essentially can't overcook mushrooms. If you overcook mushrooms, they just keep being mushrooms. Over-relying on Patrick Mahomes has not been an issue. You can't overcook Patrick Mahomes as an offensive mind. But this year, it's not what the defenses have said. We are going to put every set of eyes we have on the pan full of mushrooms. You're going to have to do something else. You're listening to the Sports Radio 810 WHB Postgame Show here on Sports Radio 810 WHB Kansas City. I'm Joshua Brisco, Beers McFly on the other side of the glass. Rudy Salazar producing around the building. It's all brought to you by the Missouri Lottery. Remember to play it forward with the Missouri Lottery. More play, more power. Powerball now on Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday. Also brought to you by CBD American Shaman. Free CBD samples every day. Lucas Niang, the only injury really to report at all today for the Chiefs, suffered a rib injury. Not sure where that's going to end up landing him. Mike Rimmers was inactive today, as he was last week with a knee. Andrew Wiley had a couple of moments where he was clearly on an island, and it did not work out. So let me say that first. Generally, I would say that he was. Beards, can I get you saying the F word that you say so poetically? Andrew Wiley, I think for the most part today was
fine.
It would be much better to have Mike Rimmers, who I will tell you is fine. You hear the difference? Andrew Wiley today had a couple of bad moments, but generally I think was fine. Mike Rimmers is a fine right tackle. That's still different than like fine. That's a whole other level. And he's not there. But hope that Niang, he was initially ruled questionable. I don't think I ever saw official injury designation on top of that. So maybe he ends up being able to practice his way back. Obviously, the Chiefs are on a little bit of a short week this week. Maybe a full week helps by a little more time for Mike Rimmers' knee. We'll have to see where that goes as it pans out. Let's take another call here, Beards. Let's do it. Let's go to Jabba. Jabba, what's on your mind?
Hello?
Hey, Jabba, you there?
Yeah, what's up?
Hey, how's it going?
You remember from the Bills game? You called me Jabba the Hutt?
That seems like something I would do. Yeah, sorry.
Offense don't look good. Daniel Fortune still sucks balls.
Can we say that on the radio? I don't know. Beards didn't dump
I don't know.
That's
probably not bad wording.
Both of those statements, right? I was wondering if you had anything else, because so far,
I'm not wrong.
No, I don't have
But,
the only noteworthy negative play of the day, like the obvious negative play of the day from the defense, the biggest one was Dan Sorensen getting worked twice. Like, that's hard to do.
Yeah, man, it's not hard to get work over Daniel Thornton, so.
Yeah.
But offense just needs to get it together.
Yeah. And it's interesting because I think that it would be very reasonable for someone to look at the larger sample size of Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid in Kansas City and to go like, yeah, I think they're probably going to get it figured out. But also, if you'd only watched the 9 games we've seen so far, I wouldn't begrudge you for not thinking that they're going to get it figured out anytime soon.
You ain't wrong. I done seen your stuff on Twitter with Tyron, so, you weren't in the wrong there either. He's sensitive.
I didn't say that just now. That was Jabba that said it, but, I appreciate it, Ally.
I ain't wrong there neither. I love the dude as a player, but he's sensitive when it comes to social media.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been a tough couple of weeks for a couple of those guys. Jabba, I appreciate it. Thank you for calling, for listening, and for having so many good opinions. Thank you. Oh, yeah, I don't know. I watched Beards' hand to just see if it would fly to the dump button, and he let it ride, so I let it ride also. Ultimately, that's on your report card, right? My dump button in here only works like half the time anyway.
I have a pretty okay PFF grade. I'm good.
What do you think your PFF grade would be as a producer? No, not that one. Not that number. It's not.
Like a 68.
I think that's closer. I think that's right. Do we know what the press conference situation is? I'm in a brief holding pattern here, but we'll either take some more calls or we'll take you live to Arrowhead Stadium. It's a matter of figuring out what's going on. There's some wrestling. There's some murmuring around the podium. So we will have an answer for you on that front very soon. But I'm afraid to jump into calls. We've done a good job on calls today, though, I will say. We're churning through them. We're gonna get a new call record. You know what? Let's keep taking them then. We take some more calls, Beards? He's on the phone, which means yes, because I get to do what I want when Beards isn't paying attention. Let's go ahead and give Frazier another shot. Frazier, you got us this time?
Yes, I do.
Excellent.
I'm up.
Excellent. What's up, man?
My wife isn't snoring in the background. So.
What's on your mind? What do you think today?
Man, I really, my energy was really up. I'm really proud of the defense. I know when we watch ESPN and, we watch other football network shows, they're going to mainly say we won because Aaron Rodgers was out.
Yeah.
And that's a possibility, but I feel like that this defense did show up. Now, did we play an inexperienced quarterback? Yes, we did, but the defense still showed up. I'm especially proud for number 38 and number 35. Number 35 was, Ward and Sneed. I actually seen it was either 38 or 35. One of them made 2 plays on the ball.
Sneed had 2
plays.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was Sneed. So that's why that's all I'm asking for is to please make a play on the ball. That's what a great secondary does, to stop down plays. And finally, I'd just like to say, I'm hoping that this third down that iced the game that won the game for us, I hope that they can get their swag back.
Yeah.
Because I still see that swag in our offense. I can still see it. Like, it was good to see Mahomes get excited at the end of the game like he used to back in the day. We need that same energy moving forward. So that's all I wanted to say. Love the show, man. I'll get it with you next week.
Appreciate it, Frazier. Look forward to hearing from you again. Yeah, I agree with all that at the end, especially. it's still there. Like they haven't completely stopped having fun playing football. But I think you've seen in the way that this season has gone, the energy is different, and it's because the play style is different. So I don't think it's in any way like an exaggeration or an over concern to say, hey, can we please make sure that particular energy is still very much a part of this offense? And there was one of those big plays to Kelce downfield. You saw a little bit of that from him and Mahomes. And then on that game-sealing play, you absolutely saw it from everybody of bleep, yeah, we closed this thing out. We're back. We still are who we thought who they thought we were, all of that. You need to have that I think in any form or fashion throughout football. But particularly this offense, it's been such a staple, such a hallmark of who they are that I am very glad to see it come back wherever you can get it. Sometimes it's on special teams. Sometimes it's on a game-sealing play at the end. You need to have that energy. Also, to mention Snead again, one thing with this defense we've talked about, even whenever it's been okay, is that it has not necessarily been playmaking. It has not necessarily been overwhelming, and it certainly hasn't been turnover creating. That was not the case today, especially with Snead. I know if we're gonna play with players who shall not be named, I loved the way that Marcus Peters played football, and this defense needs somebody who is going to actively create problems, actively create turnovers, be a mismatch. And L'Jarius Sneed had one pick and then one excellent play today. Tyrann Mathieu almost had one. The ball just went through his hands. And you've got to find those plays and then capitalize them on the rare chances you get to actually exploit them, because everyone else has done it against the Chiefs to this point. You need to be able to do it to someone else. Beards, you want to sneak in a commercial break here or take a couple more calls? I know those are kind of the two doors we can go through. Might be nice to get a break out of the way before we end up spending some time with the pressers. We know we're going to get a long line of guys back to back to back. Okay, Beards just threw up the hand signal for call me. So we'll go back to the phones and we'll talk to DJ. DJ, what's on your mind?
What's up, JB? What's the deal? It's DJ, man.
How you doing, man?
Original Sleepy Man, Food Factory.
Yeah, no, I know. I remember you. We got one of the last people that I met before COVID took meeting new people out of my life. Got to meet at the parade.
At the parade. Yeah, man, you met at the parade. Yes, how you been, man?
I'm better now. I'm better after some decent football, and I'm not in the hospital, so I feel pretty good.
No, man, congratulations and on you finding out, not the whole hospital situation. You finding out you get the show. Congratulations on that, bro.
Thank you.
Good to hear your voice, man.
I appreciate that,
man. No, so my only take basically, I think that everybody is over-exaggerating the run the ball thing. And the reason why I say that is because running the ball is okay if it can set up play action. We are a passing team.
Mm-hmm.
Even Trey Smith, Joe Tooney, Cree Humphrey, they all good in the middle. But it means nothing if we can't get a push to get 4 or 5 yards to carry. I know Clyde is doing 5 yards to carry, 4 yards to carry.
Somewhere in there, yeah. Today, Darryl and Gore ended up around 4-ish.
It was a subpar, and so what do we do on 3rd and 8? They want us to run the ball.
Right.
We are a passing team. This game, I think it starts and ends with Pat. So when he finds his head and we get it together, Pat Mahomes is going to be the difference. So everybody that's been talking, they'll be quiet because Pat is the difference. Running the ball ain't going to change that. I just want to say what's up to you, man. Just call in real quick. Let you know I still listen.
I appreciate that, DJ. Good to hear from you again, man. And also, I will say, I think there's something to that in terms of, look, I've had to come around and be like, hey, here's where I do think it makes sense to run the football. But DJ is right. This team will go as far as Patrick Mahomes goes. And whatever that last gear of this team is, it can only be driven by Patrick Mahomes. The one part where I kind of find myself falling in the middle, I think, of a couple of groups on this, is that you want to be able to, you need to run the football whenever the defense dares you to. The Chiefs should not become a run-first team by any stretch of the imagination. I would like to make that as clear as possible. But whenever you have 2 safeties 25 yards off the ball, and you have linebackers backpedaling at the point of the snap, then you should have a numbers advantage, whereas DJ said you can get 5, 6, 7 yards per carry. But on 3rd and 8, It's about Patrick Mahomes. L'Jarius Sneed at the podium right now, live from Arrowhead.
Oh, yeah, I knew that was coming, too, because I read him. I saw the signal he gave me before. He gave the receiver before, the play started, so I knew he was running inside fade, so film study.
What signal was that?
It was he did that, so, yeah, I knew what was coming.
Did you see that earlier in the game, or did you see?
No, I saw it on film. So that's how I knew it was coming. Yeah.
You went out of the game. Were you in a concussion test in the blue tent?
Yeah, I had to win a concussion and see did I have a concussion or not.
And so then I was watching that. They hold the helmet for a while, then you got the helmet back.
I was clear.
Did you ever have any doubt when you went in there?
No, I didn't have any doubt. I was good. I knew I was good. Yeah. I just seen me shook my head, so.
I'm curious, how important was this for the defense as a whole to have a performance like this throughout the game?
It's very important, man. We're just going to keep building from here. And, we know what we can do. We know what it takes, so we'll keep building.
Look, Andy Reid has said in recent weeks the defense is close. Have y'all arrived given this performance tonight?
No, we haven't arrived yet. There's still a lot more work to do. And just taking it day by day, each practice to get better and better.
L'Jarius, do you enjoy when Spags calls a blitz, and just how does that change your preparation based on the opinion you have of the receiver?
Oh, man, yeah, I love it. He play aggressive, and I like playing aggressive myself. I just got to know where my help at and who helping me and what to do and not to do.
It looked like you and Treveri spent most of the time on Devontae, and you only had 6 catches on 14 targets. How big was a part of the game plan was for you guys to be able to attack him, and how important was it just as far as the overall defense that you took in the check?
It was very important. We know he was their go-to guy, and Coach Spags was yapping at us all throughout the week, telling us to make sure we take him out and don't let him catch the ball.
Darius, how did it feel for you and for the defense as a unit to be able to support the offense so efficiently and consistently tonight?
Well, it feels great. We're all together, It's no one pointing fingers or that side of the ball, this side of the ball. We're all together, We just going to keep building from here.
What, if anything, did you notice about Melvin Ingram and the way he's kind of worked himself in?
Well, I can tell he's hungry, and I can tell he's coming to work. Yeah, definitely.
Okay, thanks, L'Jarius.
Thank you.
Where's L'Jarius Sneed? Not a terribly long press conference talker, but an excellent player who I think has to have a very good feel of Steve Spagnuolo's defense here. Just early in his second year, by the way. His rookie season was fabulous. He missed a bunch of time with the collarbone, came back, went from playing outside to playing in the slot, and is now playing all over the place. Just one of those guys where I think it's nice to occasionally remind people that a quicker press conference doesn't mean that they have not got an incredible grasp on a defense that required them to learn very quickly and to learn a lot all at once. Just a really impressive start to a career for L'Jarius Sneed. And also, kind of nice to say, now, you know what, the defense hasn't arrived yet. There's still work to do, but they also just gave up 7 points tonight. Good with that. I don't really have any criticisms for the defense tonight. It's not their fault that they played Jordan Love instead of Aaron Rodgers, right? Like that, I want to walk that line as much as we can to say I think Aaron Rodgers does a lot of bad things to this defense in all likelihood if he would have gone tonight. But for the defense itself, for Spags and these players, they had one quarterback that was out there in front of them, and they held that guy to 7 points, and that didn't come until the fourth quarter. The offense brings a lot more questions, and we'll spend some time on those. Also, the special teams was fabulous tonight. It's not the defense's fault that Jordan Love got his first start against them at Arrowhead. That's a good effort, especially from Sneed. Also, it's been nice to see Frank Clark get a little bit more active. I really thought his first press conference in a very long time, last week I think it was, when he talked about like the hamstring issues he's been dealing with since training camp and how it kind of feels like he really just now sort of got his legs back under him again. I really bought that as a legitimate explanation of some of the issues in his slow start. Again, that's a totally different conversation than evaluating his contract and the trade the Chiefs made to go get him from Seattle. But in terms of, hey, can he actually make an impact from this point forward for the rest of this year? I think it's a relevant piece of information to say he felt like he got his legs under him, then started having the hamstring issues, and is just now kind of getting fully back up to speed. If he can be a top 15 edge rusher playing next to a top 3 to top 5 interior rusher, if Melvin Ingram can provide a little bit of juice, he was active early. I didn't notice quite as much work from him later on. He may have been on the field. He was on the field a decent amount, I think, but looked especially good early on just because he was I saw him making an actual impact for sure. Could have been active later in the game as well. Again, I just didn't jump off the screen to me later as much as it did earlier on. But if you can get a rotation of other guys from your Tershawn Wharton, Derrick Nottie, Jaron Reed guys in the middle to your Melvin Ingrams, Alex Okafors, Mike Dana's on the outside at the other spot, you can have a pretty good defensive line rotation in there. Obviously, one that's got a lot of assets poured into it. If that unit could take a big step, if they could consistently get pressure with 4, and that's true, this is true for everyone, but if they were able to consistently get pressure with 4, the whole defense would look different. The whole team would look different, honestly. Because if that becomes something that they are genuinely from here on out, totally changes their ceiling, I think. You don't want to have to rely on the blitz to get pressure. Right now on my TV screen, I just saw them go from Von Miller on the Rams sideline to Adrian Peterson in a Titans uniform, which isn't as weird as you might think just because he also played for the Lions, and I guess I'm used to seeing him in Washington also, right? Like he's had a couple of those weird moments in weird places. Adrian Peterson could play football for as long as he wants to, right? Like at what point is he not going to be able to get you exactly 4 yards a carry? His 60s, maybe? You tell a 65-year-old Adrian Peterson that he's not allowed to run for 4 yards a carry anymore. But the reason I mentioned the Rams thing there before I got sidetracked is they traded for Von Miller because they want to be able to get pressure with 4 and to not make Aaron Donald and the blitz do all of that work. If the Chiefs can find that from Frank Clark, Melvin Ingram, and company around Chris Jones, that changes a lot. Let's talk about the special teams, though. Tommy Townsend at the podium here live on Sports Radio 810.
Where you just go out and you just have a great day, but of course, like none of that would have, it would have happened without, my gunners and the punt team being down there to, down the ball and scoop muff punts, and so it was just a huge team effort. I can't pat those guys on the back enough.
I remember last year it was an issue down inside the 20, you get 5 or 6 inside the 20. Was there anything maybe that you're doing differently, or maybe a technique that you picked up on?
I mean, especially the past couple weeks, there's been a lot of work done off the field, just really working on my mental game and that approach going into games. But yeah, like I said, like we have incredible gunners in Marcus Kemp and Chris Lamons. I mean, they've helped me out a lot this year. In times where I haven't had the greatest punts, they've been down and made huge plays. So yeah.
I mean, when you say mental game, is it more film study, or do you mean like things like meditation or something like that?
Yeah, just a lot of stuff like that. Just a lot of visualization and just like changing routine stuff, pregame, so that I'm, just like in a really like calm, just easy mindset.
What was it like for you when you saw that muff punt? Like I said, a late reaction. They saw the slow-mo replay for you. What was it like just seeing all the other teammates react to it?
Yeah. I mean, that's always an incredible feeling. Like when you first see your teammates react, like because it was a little tough to like see that the ball like had been muffed, but yeah, I'm the type that gets very, very fired up when there's special teams plays like that. So I'm not sure what the camera got, but I was definitely screaming and and sprinting down and going down there to celebrate with the teammates. So.
Kemp got down 1-2 for you, and then he recovers that muff. Do you owe him dinner or something like that?
Oh yeah, for sure. We'll have something in the works. I'll have to talk to him. Yeah, but yeah, like I said, he's been huge for me. Chris has been awesome. So, and really just like the entire punt team. James was just throwing me darts all day. So, like I said, just got to pat everybody on the back.
Well, Harrison too. How big of a lift was that 55-yard right before halftime?
Oh, it was huge, and that was such a tough kick too. Such a tough kick. It was pretty gusty today. And we had gone through different scenarios all throughout pregame, and like I said, it was going to be a tough day kicking, and he just came through and just absolutely crushed the ball too. It had to have been like 3/4 of the way, halfway up the uprights, and it was a 55-yard field goal, so he would have made that thing from deep. So it's pretty impressive. He's fun to watch, fun to hold for.
You've come as a holder. Their holder had a couple issues today, along with the snap, right? The laces were back, I think, on one of their misses. How far have you guys come as a group on making sure the laces are right and everything? Because that all has to be perfect.
Right. Yeah. That's something that we put so much time into. And as soon as I got to Kansas City and started working with the guys in the offseason of last year, we just put so much time into the field goal operation because obviously, like, you know, points are huge in this league. Games are super tight, and so we've worked really, really hard. We've got a lot of kind of like secret techniques and stuff that we've come into over the past like year or so. Yeah, and it's nice to see that we have just, you know, such a clean operation. Everyone's just doing so well in it.
Okay, thanks, Tom.
Thank you. Sure.
Thanks.
There's Chiefs punter Tommy Townsend. Has not gotten a lot of work this year, but whenever he has, he's been excellent. He was very good today, as Beers pointed out earlier, both in the punting game and in the holding game, and successfully getting the laces facing out. Basically everything. Dave Tobe's press conference, he always goes first on Thursdays. There'll be Tobe and then Spags and Bieniemy in some order, and Tobe usually doesn't get, a ton of questions. This week should be fun. Hey, let's go to Frank Clark. He's at the podium right now, live from Arrowhead.
Yeah, although, they didn't have a guy out there, I feel like it's a start. We kind of started it last week with just, getting after the Giants and stuff like that. But, we just wanted to carry it over. It's been kind of rough all year to just get in the flow, get things going. And, like I said a few weeks ago, we're getting healthy. So that was the number one thing. And then, you start getting back into the flow with your whole group. With those ones and stuff, and I feel like that's what's been happening. The camaraderie in practice has been, high. So, guys are starting to respond better to guys. The task at hand, guys are responding better to it. And, we just going out there having fun again. Like I said, I feel like earlier on in the season, you didn't really see guys having fun. You didn't see, guys really entertaining the crowd. Now it's become a whole thing. We're just getting back to playing football like we know.
What did you think of the pass rush tonight with Melvin?
Man, I like Melvin. Melvin, even, before he came here, I was a big fan of Melvin. We always had conversation and always talked to each other, like my big bro. So having Melvin, adding Melvin to the bunch, it's only going to help us out in the long run, I feel. He does some special things, some things, everyone has yet to see, here with the Chiefs. And I feel like the way he's going to be utilized in the future, it's only going to be a benefit to us defensively.
Coach Reid said that teams don't always welcome a new guy mid-season, but he said you guys really welcome Melvin this week. So, can you speak to that at all? Were you part of that group to say, "Hey, this guy can help us. Let's rally around him"?
Yeah, of course. You know what I mean? Like I said before, I might have been one of the first guys to hit him up after the trade happened and told him, like, man, let's go, let's get it in. You know what I'm saying? Because I was just excited, knowing that he was that type of caliber of player, a player with his experience, just how productive he's been, since he's been in the league. Like I said, the special things that he can do, him standing up and him being able to move around are things that's beneficial to us, more than ever.
How did he teach you that spin move?
Yeah, I got my own spin move and stuff in the bag, but yeah, all knowledge is good knowledge, that's how I look at it.
I feel like there were times during the game where you lined up on the left side as opposed to the right side when he was on the right side. Is that something y'all talk amongst yourself? Who's going to come from that angle, or that's a set play?
Nah, not really. Never a set play, just a feel. Sometimes they kind of give me the go-ahead to figure out where I want to line up when it comes to those things. And, I just kind of go on the flow of the game. Sometimes I'll be on the right side for 4 or 5 straight plays, and I'm like, yeah, it's time for me to go on the left, stuff like that. So that's kind of where it is. Nothing in particular, no game plan, nothing like that.
You've seemed more comfortable these past few weeks. When's the last time you felt this healthy? I know football players go through bumps and bruises, but this healthy?
Last year, it was a long season last year. We went on a pretty good run, I feel, going into the playoffs and even through the playoffs. Really last year, like I said a few weeks ago, I started this season off with camp, and everything was kind of downhill. I felt pretty good coming out of my training season in the summer. And, I had a lot of high hopes and expectations for myself going into the season. But, once you get hurt, a lot of stuff goes out the window, because you got to focus on getting healthy. At first I wasn't really focused on getting healthy. I was just trying to get back, you know what I mean? Because in my head, I'm like, I got to get back. I got to accomplish my goals. I got to do all those things and be there for my team. But eventually you figure out, like, being there for your team ain't going out there half-heartedly, with nicks and bruises here and there, things that can affect your performance, things that can hurt the team. And I feel like those are things that I was doing in the early stages of camp, and eventually, I had to sit down, tell myself, the only way you're going to help this team out is getting 100% healthy, getting back in the flow and get back in the rhythm, and then you can go out there and be dominant.
Frank, as one of the leaders of the defense, obviously over the last 3 ball games, the offense has struggled. You all have been there pretty much to pick them up and been the strength of this team over the last 3. What are you seeing defensively that you all are doing that's keeping keeping the Chiefs in the ball game and securing offense?
I think we're playing with a lot of swagger. Playing with a lot of swagger right now. Getting back to that Chiefs ball, for the last 3 years, since I've even been here, we sort of take that turn mid-season defensively usually. Beginning of the season is always rocky. It's kind of, we kind of getting used to it at this point. You kind of rocky, you kind of, getting in the scheme, understanding, the new plays and different things that's been added, where different players, we started the season off with Chris at end. That alone, for a player like him, that's kind of, your scheme is different now, which again on from the opposing offenses are different. So I just feel like, just getting back to what we know best, and Chris moved back into that 3 tech, him being dominant in there, me doing what I got to do on the edge. I feel like it all just works hand in hand.
What does he feel? What does Chris feel? How does he feel about going back to the 3 tech?
He feel good. I mean, that's where home is for him. And I feel like, when he's able, it's an automatic mismatch when, those guys dare to slide just one person on him and, hope for the best when they got him rushing against just one guard, But, it opens up the game for other players as well. The opposing tackle in there, opens up a lot of one-on-ones for him and gives him a lot of chance to get to the quarterback as well.
You all have put together 2 consecutive wins for the first time this season. If dominoes chip fall away, if you are hoping for next week, you all could potentially be back in the lead in the AFC West. What do you all have to do going further to make sure that both the offense and defense and special teams all play a big ball game?
I feel like just putting the game on our back. The coach is going to make the calls, the players got to play. And I feel like when as a player, when you take full advantage of every opportunity that you get, things are going to fall your way. Go ahead.
Sorry.
All right, fine.
Yeah. What is the significance of winning consecutive games for the first time? How this season's gone, all the winning you've done over here over the past couple of years. How weird is it to get at this point and you finally win back-to-back games?
I mean, I feel like every team is going to struggle. You're not going to always just be successful in this league when every team, they work hard and they build their teams. The NFL is sort of becoming like the NBA. We've been like the power team, this stacked team for the last few years in the NFL. And I feel like, over the course of the last few years, teams have actually built their teams around beating the Chiefs. So when you do that and coaches, you got these head coaches and these defensive coordinators who've when years of the Chiefs offense terrorizing their defense, you're going to do everything in your power to, try to stop that. And I feel like it's just been problems there, and then it's been problems on the defensive side of the ball because, we got a lot of moving parts and we've had a lot of moving pieces. We still got a lot of young guys, and it's just when you have all those different things going on, things aren't going to go your way all the time. You got to be ready for that, but when it is time, you just got to be able to buckle up and go for the ride.
One more thing. You had a guy making his first start, Jordan Love. What were your impressions of him just as a young guy without a lot of experience, and how do you think he handled himself?
Simply put, I feel like he's going to be a good quarterback in this league. One of these days, unfortunately, you got, one of those guys right now in front of him, one of the best quarterbacks to play the game. And, just eventually I feel like he's going to be a star in this league one day. Even us rushing, getting after him today, he showed some good signs out there, avoiding a lot of sacks, getting out the pocket, scrambling ability, making throws downfield under pressure, and just doing the necessary things. I mean, you can't expect too much from a guy, who's going into his first start off a team who's, eager to win every down.
Frank, you said earlier that in practice you noticed that maybe the team wasn't having a lot of fun. Were you talking about the defense in specific, or were you talking about the team as a whole? What led you to say that?
I mean, I feel like the team as a whole, and what really led me to decide that is just when you look at it, I mean, I'm a pretty energetic guy. And when I come out there and, you know, I've been hurt, I've been, you know, this and that, whatever, you know, it's hard to come out there with my energy level on the high, you know, because I'm thinking about a lot of other things. I'm thinking about, like, damn, if I turn the wrong way, am I going to tweak it again? Or if this happens, is this going to, you know what I mean? So it's really just getting, like I said, it was a mental battle at first for me personally. And I know a lot of guys, like, if I know I'm going through something, I know a lot of other guys are going through stuff. You know, you never know what a guy's going through when they go home, you know, away from, you know, work and away from football. So, you know, it's just, I know the mental battle part of this is a game in itself. And, so, like, once you get rid of that mental battle and you begin to balance your life and to get everything in order, you're able to just play football with a clear mind and you're able to have fun again.
That's two. Go Steve and then Todd. Go Steve.
Frank.
What's up, Steve?
As the past couple weeks, the magnifying glass has been placed on Daniel Sorensen. As teammates, what are you guys telling him? I mean, I know I asked your X-Factor earlier this week. He's sometimes caught in the wrong spot, but just as teammates, what are you guys telling him?
I mean, you know, just keeping his head in it. You got to keep your head in this, man. You know, you're not going to always have successful downs. You know, you can have 12 or 13 straight good plays, or you just play excellent ball, and you can have one play where something happens and it's like, boom, the whole world's against you. You know what I mean? And that's just the nature of our game. You know, but at the end of the day, as his teammates, as his, you know, his friends, you know, we just got to continue to love on them and continue to just bring them up. You know, it's nothing about, it's a long season, man. You know, Dan has had a wonderful career, you know, especially these last 2 years. He's had career years here. You know, the thing is they begin to hold Dan to a higher level, too. You know, when you have 90-plus tackles, you got 4 interceptions in the season and stuff like that, and you playing great football, you know, guys are going to hold you to a higher level. You know, I've dealt with it, you know, basically 7 years. I've dealt with it for the last 5 years, you know, where it's like expectations are so high, where it's like, you know, sometimes, you know, you go through it with yourself. Like, man, I got to make this play. I got to make every play. When it's like, no, you just got to have fun sometimes, you know, and let loose.
How much, you mentioned that, I mean, feeling pressure to go make plays and get healthy. How much is the fact that, I mean, people know you make a lot of money now, right, that people can look at Spotrac and over the cap. How much pressure do you feel to kind of live up to that part now that you're in this third year of this deal?
I don't really feel pressure to live up to it as far as the money goes, because my coaches know me. You know, they know my ability the most. My defensive coordinator and my position coach and Andy Reid, you know. But, you know, so I don't really feel pressure like that. You know, like I said, this is my third year into it. I kind of take the money out of it. You know, I don't think about the money aspect of everything. I just go out there with a clear mind. You know, my thing is just being hurt. You know, I never really had to deal with injuries my whole career. You know, I was blessed enough to not have to. You know, I always used to see it on the news or see guys out and stuff like that, and I'm sitting here feeling good, you know, going into the next week. And, you know, for the first time, it's like, damn, I got to miss this game. Damn, I got to miss a week of practice. You know, I'm not out there with my guys being able to be vocal, you know what I mean, let them know what's expected of us as a team. And, you know, that was the hardest part. You know, that's the you know, it's the expectation from my teammates of just being there, that where I was kind of disappointed in myself, because I'm like, man, I want to be there for my guys. You know, I know how much they really look up to me, how much they really want me out there. And, you know, that was the biggest part. And, you know, like I said, the next few weeks, I've been getting back in that rhythm. Teams have been getting back in that rhythm, and we coming.
Thanks, Frank.
I like to hear from Frank Clark pretty much as often as possible. Good to hear him back at a couple of press conferences in a couple of weeks. Good stuff there. Good stuff all the way through our locker room report, brought to you by Twin Peaks.
The Chiefs Locker Room Report is brought to you by Twin Peaks. No one does football like Twin Peaks. Whatever your preference, they have everything from tequila cocktails and an extensive bourbon category to top shelf spirits and cocktails served over ice balls. Local craft beers and handcrafted whiskey cocktails round out an adventurous drink menu, second to none. And don't forget about their 29-degree man-sized drafts at Twin Peaks.
There was a lot of interesting stuff in there from Frank Clark. I think the most interesting thing was the terminology he used around Chris Jones, saying that he's moved back to 3-tech because it sounds a lot more permanent kind of through that prism. And if that's true, great, because that's where he's at his most effective. If they want to kick him outside occasionally on early downs, whatever, that's fine. But he's a menace on the inside, and I went from thinking that moving him outside did not make a whole lot of sense to buying the preseason hype, admittedly more than I probably now should have, to being back to where I was originally, which is where it just seems like getting a little too cute there. So good to see Chris Jones in there. Good to hear from Frank Clark. Good to be with you here on the Sports Radio 810 WHB Postgame Show. It's brought to you by the Missouri Lottery. Remember to play it forward with the Missouri Lottery. More play, more power. Powerball now on Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday. Also brought to you by CBD American Shaman. When Kansas City scores, you score big at your local CBD American Shaman. Our team score is your percent off. They scored 13 points, so you get 13% off all day tomorrow. CBD American Shaman, life is better with the feather. We'll take a break. Whenever we come back, we'll take the calls that are currently on the phone lines right now. If you want to hop in line, you're still welcome to do so. But the three people currently at bat, on deck, and in the hole, we'll get to whenever we come back here on the Sports Radio 810 WHB Postgame Show.
You're listening to exclusive postgame coverage on Kansas City's home for the NFL. Sports Radio 810 WHB, presented by the Missouri Lottery and CBD American Shaman.
When you're ready to buy your next car, check out OneRequest. With inventory from nearly every dealer in the country, OneRequest offers a greater selection than other sites that are limited to only the dealers that pay to advertise. And at OneRequest, we don't sell or share your personal contact information. The other sites think your information is valuable, and that's why they sell it. We think it's valuable to you, and that's why we don't. Don't just search for your next car, OneRequest it. Visit OneRequest.com today.
S'mores jackhammers are new at Andy's. Vanilla frozen custard, graham crackers, hot fudge, and marshmallow jacked down the middle. Andy's frozen custard, 9 Kansas City locations, and more on the way. Top your day with a smile at Andy's.
Susan, I'm sorry I'm late. Traffic is terrible.
It sure is. But on top of that, gas prices have been skyrocketing. I can't believe how expensive gas has gotten recently.
Prices at the pump are up, but I never pay full price for gas anymore. I just use the free Get Upside Gas app that pays you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get paid cash when you buy gas with the Get Upside app?
Yes, up to 25 cents a gallon cash back every time I buy gas.
And does that actually add up to anything?
Some months I make $200 to $300.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the free Get Upside app now.
Download the free Get Upside app now in the App Store or Google Play to save up to 25 cents a gallon when you buy gas. Use promo code BILL for a 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. That's up to 50 cents a gallon on your first fill-up. You can cash out anytime to your bank account, PayPal, or any gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Get Upside app and use promo code BILL for up to 50 cents a gallon cash back on your first tank. That's code BILL.
Hey guys, it's Grunny here for my friends at CBD American Shaman. Man, I love football and I love big scores. When Kansas City scores, you score big at your local CBD American Shaman stores the day after the game. If Kansas City puts up 30, it's 30% off all the next day at your local CBD American Shaman store. If they put up 50, you got it, 50% off all the very next day. Now that's a big win. CBD American Shaman. Life is so much better with the feather.
More play and more power with Powerball with Double Play. For an extra $1, players have the chance to win up to $10 million in a separate drawing. Plus, players have 3 nights a week to play Powerball. Now Monday nights. Every ticket you play creates opportunities for Missouri students. So play it forward with the Missouri Lottery. Play responsibly.
Hey guys, it's Grunny here for my friends at CBD American Shaman. Man, I love football and I love big scores. When Kansas City scores, you score big at your local CBD American Shaman stores the day after the game. If Kansas City puts up 30, it's 30% off all the next day at your local CBD American Shaman store. If they put up 50, you got it, 50% off all the very next day. Now that's a big win. CBD American Shaman. Life is so much better with the feather.
Kevin Kugler here from Westwood One with a preview of Monday Night Football with the Bears at the Steelers. Ben Roethlisberger and Pittsburgh are 4-3, but on a 3-game winning streak and are just a game back in the AFC North. Chicago is looking to break a 3-game losing trend and get past some key injuries, especially on defense. Join Trent Green and me for all the action on Monday Night Football.
Kansas City's home for the National Football League. Sports Radio 810 WHB.
As we start a new school year, most of us are lucky to have a home for our children, but for some families, that's not the reality. They are homeless and without hope. Fortunately, there's a solution. At North American Savings Bank, we believe in taking care of our community. We are a proud supporter of Community Link, who has ended and prevented homelessness for over 35 years throughout Greater Kansas City. Call 816-595-5553 for more information.
Take your adventure to the next level with a new Kia from Robert Brogdon's Olathe Kia. Go off-roading in a rugged new 2022 Kia Sorento. Pack up for a road trip in a spacious new Sportage, or write your next chapter in a well-appointed new Kia Telluride. All new Kias are backed by a 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty. Your journey starts at Robert Brogdon's Olathe Kia, just a short drive from I-35. Check out OlatheKia.com for exclusive special offers. Warranty is a limited powertrain warranty. See Kia.com or retailer for details.
Summertime in Kansas City is here, and for most of us, that means getting outside more for activities: golf, swimming, biking, walking the dog, chasing your kids, mowing the grass, or simply enjoying the long summer days. Stretch Zone is in the business of making you feel better and move better so you can enjoy your favorite activities with less pain and stiffness. You relax, they do the work, and you get all the benefits of a great stretch. Check them out at StretchZone.com.
More play and more power with Powerball with Double Play. For an extra $1, players have the chance to win up to $10 million in a separate drawing. Plus, players have 3 nights a week to play Powerball. Now Monday nights. Every ticket you play creates opportunities for Missouri students. So play it forward with the Missouri Lottery. Play responsibly.
Looking for a job or career change? Let Sports Radio 810 help you out with the 810 Job Connections program. Go to the community page at 810WHB.com and check out the list of partners that are hiring. Is your business wanting to hire? Email Sandy Cohen at scohen@unionbroadcasting.com to see how you can be a part of the 810 Job Connections program. See job opportunities from great companies like Twin Peaks, Amini's, and MJ Transportation. Go to 810WHB.com/community.
Love throws, and it is picked. Intercepted by Sneed. L'Jarius Sneed comes down with it. His first interception of the season. Devontae Adams couldn't knock it down or make the catch. 38 in red did.
A fabulous play from L'Jarius Sneed, a fabulous start to his young career, and our sweet play of the game brought to you by Andy's Frozen Custard. It's pie season at Andy's. Be sure to try their famous pumpkin pie concrete or apple pie sundae this fall. A perfect post-game stop or anytime stop. Andy's Frozen Custard. Beers, don't hit that button yet. I gotta talk about Andy's Frozen Custard for a second. We had a cooler of it at a little event we had here in the 810 parking lot a couple of days back. And I had a chance to try the s'mores concrete. And I'm a big fan of s'mores ice cream, s'mores custard, s'mores concrete, etc. I think it's technically the concrete. It's one of my favorites anyway. It was so good. It was so good. So then, I'm gonna, did I take one of the pumpkin ones home with me? For research purposes, so I could speak on it on a level of an expert, whenever I say go try their famous pumpkin pie concrete in this sponsored read there. Do I need to take one of these pumpkin ones home with me so I could speak on it as an expert? Yes, I do. And so yes, I did. It was also delicious. Then Renee came back home a couple days after that. Yesterday, 2 days ago, I think. And she swung by an Andy's, and she brought it had been delivered, via car. So I'm not sure what the consistency was whenever she got it. So I'm not sure if it's what it technically was. So my apologies for the vagueness. But I'm a huge mint chocolate fan. Mint chocolate chip ice cream, mint chocolate candy. I love a York patty. Love Junior Mints. I love mint and chocolate. It's always been one of my favorite things. I'm not going to bleep with you here. I'm going to shoot straight. Whatever the specific mint chocolate concoction was that Renee brought back from Andy's might have been the best frozen mint chocolate thing I've ever had. It was like little flecks of chocolate, and the mint was brilliant. Oh. The pumpkin one was also excellent. The s'mores one was excellent. Both of those were great. But I have thought about that mint chocolate chip, or mint chocolate, whatever it was, many times since it happened. So I'm just going to tell all the great folks at Andy's, if you need someone specifically to just be your spokesperson for any mint chocolate things you ever do ever again, I'll do it, and you can pay me in custard. Let's take some calls. Sorry for the detour there. I've just been waiting to talk about how good Andy's frozen custard is for several days now. I knew I would have this opportunity. Let's take a few calls. Hopefully we'll hear from Matt Derrick before too long as well. We'll figure that out very shortly. He's a busy man. He's probably writing right now, post-game press conference and all that. But it means we got time to hear from Cruz up first. Cruz, thanks for waiting on hold, man. What's on your mind?
Oh, thanks so much, Josh. Hey, just real quick, I don't know if this is allowed on this station, but I just wanted to tell you that your podcast with with Nate, Times Hours, is a gem.
Thank
you. Every single time you release a brand new one.
Thank you.
Seriously, I fall asleep to it. And that might sound a little creepy, but don't take it as such.
I'm taking it as a high compliment, actually. Thank you.
Please do. That's how it's meant. Yeah, absolutely. So just a couple of quick points, and my last point will be controversial, although I don't think it should be. So just real quick, first of all, no turnovers tonight.
No turnovers.
How great is that?
Huzzah!
I can't believe it. So let's keep that going, please. I'll still take one or two a game, I guess, but I'll take none over more. So and also, I noticed that the offensive line gave Pat a lot of time tonight.
Yes.
A lot of time. And, unfortunately, he's going through something, and this is going to go into my final point, which is going to be controversial. But he had plenty of time, so that's definitely a plus. So I'll take it every time. And here's my final point.
Okay.
Patrick, he's going through whatever he's going through. Here is my guess. As a father of four myself, he had a new baby this year. Everyone seems to shy away from this fact and how it could possibly, play into the fact that he's not all there this year. I think that has everything to do with what's going on because I can't see anything else. We had, Tyreek Hill had some strange, missed catches this year. Kelsey has been roughed up a little bit, although he looked a lot better tonight. But we're talking about Patrick. I think that has a lot to do with it. And I don't want to get into his brother Jackson or his wife because I think that's crossing the line. I think genuinely, and as nature would have it, having a brand new baby for the first time in your entire life as a human being, that's going to have an effect. So I really do think that has an effect, and it's okay. That just means that maybe this year is not going to be his best year, and maybe we won't go as far as we would like, but he's going to be just fine.
Cruz, I appreciate it, man. Across the board there, thank you. I, as anyone could guess, do not have any children. The closest thing that I have to a baby in my life is a dog who I can leave at home for 8 hours, and the worst thing she could do is maybe pee on the floor, but she doesn't do that because she's a good dog. I don't know. I don't even think it's controversial. I think plenty of people. I think a handful of people. I don't want to say a ton of people. I think some people have brought that up and as a life-changing, life-impacting thing. Of course, everyone in the world would say, yeah, my life was different after I had my first baby. I am confident in that. And I also don't know how much of it hits the field. I don't know. And so I hesitate to hazard a guess, not even because I think it's unfair to wonder about or whatever, but just because I really don't know how to even begin to evaluate that. Maybe my cop-out can be that I'll leave that up to people that do have kids, because that way I'm safe from having to also speculate in that direction, and also I can genuinely claim some ignorance there. On the other stuff, I'm very glad that Cruz mentioned the pockets that the offensive line was putting together, because I tweeted about that during the game, but I don't think I had brought it up at any point over the course of the show here today. Even with Andrew Wiley, coming in for the rib-injured Lucas Niang, there were a couple of moments where clearly Wiley lost a snap. And that he's your third choice at right tackle. He would be better suited at guard. It is what it is. If you get three deep at a tackle position, and the worst thing you can say is there were a couple of plays where he lost the snap, that's okay. You could be in worse spots than that. But over the course of the night, especially when Niang was still out there, but really even with Wiley, there were some great pockets. And some of it I do think also was helped by some of the movement. There were a couple of those deep shots where Mahomes would kind of like drop and then slide one way or another, and then you just had like 10 square feet of unquestioned territory. If you can buy that kind of time and create that kind of space, it allows them to step into a throw that goes 60 yards downfield. They just weren't landing tonight. But I do think that the offensive line deserves some real credit there. Run blocking, I think, seemed to be okay with some good moments. I think the pass blocking was very, very, very good with a couple of not so good moments. But I'm glad that that got brought up because I think I glossed over it unfairly here today. You're listening to the Sports Radio 810 WHB Postgame Show right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB Kansas City. You're welcome, Beards. It's brought to you by Missouri Lottery. Remember to play it forward with the Missouri Lottery. More play, more power. Powerball now on Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday. Let's keep going to the phones here. Let's go to Kyle up next. Kyle, thanks for waiting on hold, man. What's on your mind?
Yeah, Jeff, what's up, buddy?
Hey, good. How are you?
It is good. Good to hear your voice again, man.
Thank you.
So good. So glad that you're doing okay now.
Appreciate that. Thank you very much.
So the last caller kind of touched on it, but I don't have any kids either. I got 2 cats, and but I just think that Patrick looks like he has happy feet back there, like he's not comfortable.
Yeah.
And there's been several times this year, Josh, where he is missing Kelsey wide open underneath, wide open. And that's not the norm of what we've seen.
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead, sorry.
It baffles me. I know that he is, superhuman. And I know that on the last, play that I did tonight, he was Superman.
Right.
Great. But it just... But he isn't the same guy. And I don't know what to pinpoint. Like, I know that the last caller kind of touched on it, but I just, I don't understand it. Like, listen, off air. I appreciate you taking my call, Josh. Thank you. I'm glad you're doing well, buddy.
Thank you very much. Give your cats a pet for me. I appreciate it. If I did that, I would burst into a fit of sneezes. My eyes would start to water. The other caller dropped off, Beards. I know you just glared over at me. I'm not sure what happened to, I believe, Alan, but the phones got closed now. So if you want to see if Alan calls back, we can see where we end up, and also where we end up with Matt Derrick. But real quick there to Kyle's point, the happy feet thing is legitimate, and there's a difference between saying like Patrick Mahomes is broken and unfixed or unfixable or whatever. There's that path, and I think that's unreasonable. But I think if you say, hey, Patrick Mahomes has had some happy feet, he has had some issues with his eyes, let me try to connect it to somebody different just for the sake of the comparison here. Alex Smith had issues with his feet and his eye level as a 12-year veteran or whatever he ended up getting to with the Chiefs. That's stuff that quarterbacks do go through, and I think that Patrick Mahomes has made everything look so damn easy for his entire time in the NFL so far that running into a stretch like this is legitimately jarring. Probably for him, certainly for all of us watching. And to say, hey, something's not... He hasn't fully rebuilt all of that trust in the offensive line. I thought tonight I saw 1 or 2 plays where it seemed like he had happy feet. I think that's probably the fewest this year. I'll be interested to see the aforementioned Seth Kaiser break into his film review this week and see if it is trending in a better direction. Also, Seth, who was at the game tonight, if you're within earshot and driving back and listening right now, I do hope you noticed that whenever Cruz called in, he did talk about how much he loves Times Ours featuring me and Nate. And an infrequent co-host, Seth Kaiser. Love you, Seth. Sorry. Not really sorry. A little sorry. But I do think there's something there to the happy feet and to the processing of who Patrick Mahomes is. There's that great story in The Athletic a couple of weeks ago where it was there's a story of from in the quarterback room where Mahomes was saying, "Hey, actually, I don't want Reid. I want to Reid too. I'm going to take this post down here because he's about to come open." And Brad Childress went like, "I'm sorry, what the bleep are you talking about?" Patrick Mahomes doesn't process the same way, and 99% of the time, it's been wonderful for Chiefs fans. It's been wonderful for the Chiefs. It's been wonderful for the offense. To get to the point where the Chiefs are at now, where the more aggressive plays that Mahomes likes to play for, and should, because he's incredible at that, defenses are playing to take away the big shots, to take away the big aggressive moves that other quarterbacks would not even look to, and certainly might not look to first or second. So he's being defended differently, which I think you can have your theories about. His life is different now, but his life was also different last year than the year before, right? And I don't know. There's lots of moving parts there. I don't want to over-validate or under-validate any different elements of that because it's really, really, really hard to know. But across the board, I think there are plenty of football reasons to look at where this team and this offense and Mahomes are disjointed right now, and that are also solvable. But we're also talking about this team being 9 games into the season. 9 games in. Now just over the halfway point. And we're still wondering if they're going to get it fixed in the second half. I don't know. We're going to try to get you to a good chunk of Sunday Night Football tonight, by the way, because Rams-Titans is super interesting. 3-0 game right now, but Matt Stafford just Carson Wentz'd one. He was taking a sack in the end zone. He threw the ball for no particular reason. Titan defender caught it, and it's now 1st and goal for the Titans because he did the Carson Wentz thing. I just mentioned that because it was distracting and kind of funny to watch, but also, great veteran quarterbacks make really stupid moves sometimes, including ones that are on an MVP track, like 2021 Matt Stafford, Bleep happens. I know that's not very satisfying. It certainly isn't a result, but the Titans just scored a touchdown because Matt Stafford wouldn't take a safety or get rid of the ball sooner. Football's hard. It's crazy. It's why I read you all the scores from the AFC today. The Bills lost to the Jaguars. Football's weird. And also, I hope the Chiefs' offense gets a lot better. One more call before we take a break, and then either get to Matt Derrick or get to Andy Reid. I bet we'll get one of the two next segment. But first, let's hear from Henry. Henry, what's on your mind?
Yes. I have a scenario what I think is wrong with Patrick.
Okay.
They telling Patrick to stay in the pocket more. They want him to stay in the pocket. Patrick is used to playing his game, rolling out, throwing the ball. He looked good when he was doing that, those couple of years. And now they're pressuring him to stay in the pocket. And I think it's got a lot to do in his head. He keeps concentrating. And when he stays in the pocket, remember he was getting hit a lot back then? And he got nervous from all them hits, and that's why he got the happy feet. He used to getting hit one while here now. So he needs to kind of be himself to don't let him, pressure him. Pocket. He just got that in his head, seems like,
Yeah, I think that's interesting, Henry. I appreciate you bringing that up. I appreciate the call because I think that if you risk overemphasizing something, then maybe there ends up being some collateral damage from that, and particularly to the pocket standpoint, it's something you do want him to be better at, right, or more consistent at. I guess he's very good in the pocket. Just to make sure I don't want to indicate otherwise, but. You also saw later in the game him on the move a little bit more. There was that play where he rolled left and hit Mecole Hardman. Hardman just dropped it. That play at the end of the game was a broken play wherever he was able to find Tyreek Hill and move the ball downfield. And so I do wonder if I would be curious to see if he has spent more time in the pocket this year on the whole, if that's actually been successful. And then also, again, you get to some of the the impossible to measure stuff. Like, is he thinking about staying in the pocket? Is that making his feet too happy because he doesn't trust any offensive line in a pocket yet? Does he want to bail? Should he bail more? Can he? All of those things are all very tightly wound, and I'm going to be very curious to see where we end up at this time, even 6 weeks from now, because I wonder if some of that will sort itself out. But again, we're not in week 3. Just saw the Chiefs play their 9th game of the season, which means there's still a lot to figure out with not nearly as much time as there once was. You're listening to the Sports Radio 810 WHB Postgame Show. It's brought to you by CBD American Shaman. When Kansas City scores, you score big at your local CBD American Shaman. Our team's score is your % off. The Chiefs scored 13 points today, so you get 13% off all day tomorrow. CBD American Shaman. Life is better with the feather.
You're listening to exclusive post-game coverage on Kansas City's home for the NFL. Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Remember to play it forward with the Missouri Lottery. More play, more power Powerball. Now on Monday, Wednesday, and Saturdays.
Attention men. If you have trouble getting or maintaining an erection, or both, and the pills and other remedies have let you down, the Kansas City Men's Clinic can help. More men trust the Kansas City Men's Clinic to treat their erectile dysfunction and other performance issues. Why? Because their experienced doctors get results. And if they can't, they'll let you know, and your appointment is absolutely free. Erectile dysfunction is a medical condition that can be treated successfully, regardless of age or medical history. They will develop a personalized treatment plan just for you. Call the Kansas City Men's Clinic today and for a limited time, receive a confidential consultation and all testing for only $49. Call 816-608-8189. That's 816-608-8189 or thekansascitymensclinic.com. You have nothing to lose and everything to gain.
Let me tell you about my other favorite Andy from Andy's Frozen Custard. He's from KC, never misses a game, and serves the world's finest frozen custard. Grab a Pick 6 from one of 9 area locations and tailgate at Andy's. Grab one today.
Tired of searching for sports updates in different places? The Xfinity Sportszone gives you the ultimate sports hub experience. Find games, commentary, news, and highlights all in one place. Use the voice remote to get instant access to stats and scores. Just say, "Show me NASCAR" or "Soccer scores." Plus, get notifications with breaking news alerts and more when the game's about to start. Go to Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit an Xfinity store for details. Restrictions apply. Requires Xfinity TV service with X1.
Let me tell you about my other favorite Andy from Andy's Frozen Custard. He's from KC, never misses a game, and serves the world's finest frozen custard. Grab a Pick 6 from one of 9 area locations and tailgate at Andy's. Grab one today.
Are you losing your hair and feel like you don't know what to do? We are here to help you. Hi, I'm Dr. Spencer Egan with Acentus Hair Restoration. We can help you get your hair back using state-of-the-art robotic hair transplant technology. At Acentus Hair Restoration, we care about maintaining the hair you have and replacing the hair you've lost. Book your free consultation for a personalized plan and feel like you again. Call 913-914-5975 or visit kansascityhairtransplant.com.
Listen up, sporting fans. Central Bank of the Midwest invites you to score a better banking experience with our new sporting checking account. Now you can show off your team spirit at the match or on the go with the official sporting debit card. Plus, you'll gain access to Central Bank's award-winning mobile app with more than 30,000 reviews and a 4.9-star rating. So, score big today by opening your sporting checking account at any of our convenient Central Bank locations or by visiting sportingchecking.com. Member FDIC.
Just like Kansas City, Audi Shawnee Mission knows how to win. Come in today to see why Audi Shawnee Mission is rated one of the top dealers in the Central region by Audi of America. Stop in at Audi of Shawnee Mission and experience their brand new state-of-the-art facility. It's easy to get to directly off I-35 in Merriam, at the corner of I-35 and 67th Street. Audi of Shawnee Mission is a proud supporter of our hometown team in red. Come see why they are champions too.
Hey Hey guys, it's Grunny here for my friends at CBD American Shaman. Man, I love football and I love big scores. When Kansas City scores, you score big at your local CBD American Shaman stores the day after the game. If Kansas City puts up 30, it's 30% off all the next day at your local CBD American Shaman store. If they put up 50, you got it, 50% off all the very next day. Now that's a big win. CBD American Shaman. Life is so much better with the feather.
Looking for a job or career change? Let Sports Radio 810 help you out with the 810 Job Connections program. Go to the community page at 810WHB.com and check out the list of partners that are hiring. Is your business wanting to hire? Email Sandy Cohen at scohen@unionbroadcasting.com to see how you can be a part of the 810 Job Connections program. See job opportunities from great companies like Hy-Vee, Bob Hamilton, Plumbing, Heating, AC, Rooter, and Electrical, and Domino's Pizza. Go to 810WHB.com/community.
Congratulations to Tim Grunhard from Roberts Robinson Chevrolet Buick GMC. Roberts Robinson Chevrolet Buick GMC of Excelsior Springs has all of your truck needs covered. Online at robertsrobinson.com or check them out on Facebook. And Wilkerson Crane Rental, a great local Kansas City company, would like to congratulate Tim Grunhard on his induction into the Chiefs Hall of Fame. Online at wilkersoncranerental.com. Wilkerson Crane, raised right.
Mahomes chased. Gary didn't get there. Pass caught. First down, Kansas City. As Mahomes on the run, outrunning Rashawn Gary, completes for 13.
For all of the reasonable talk of Patrick Mahomes' issues these last couple of weeks, he sure looked like Patrick Mahomes on that play. That is our Mahomes Magic Moment, brought to you by BOK Financial. The Mahomes Magic Moment is brought to you by BOK Financial. Whatever you want your company to be, there's BOK Financial. Be ready with BOK Financial. Member FDIC. This is by no means a baseball show. Should come as no surprise. Which is probably going to make what I'm going to say here sort of confusing. But some news from the Royals front that I feel a need to hand over to all of you dear listeners. Both Andrew Benintendi in left field and Michael A. Taylor in center field are Gold Glove winners. Two of them both getting the Gold Glove. 2/3 of the Royals outfield last year is going to be able to play with a shiny Gold Glove next year if they'd like to. Probably wouldn't bend very well. Not sure you could fit your hand into it. But Gold Glove awards for both Andrew Benintendi and Michael A. Taylor. No word on if Jorge Soler got one for his work in right field. That's a joke. World Series MVP Jorge Soler is what I should have said, by the way, which rules. No more baseball talk. That's it. And again, as we continue on through tonight's show, we'll get you to the second half sometime in there of Titans and Rams, where Matt Stafford, after throwing an interception where the Titans then landed within the 2-yard line, I believe, the next drive threw a full-on pick six. So a tough night for Matthew Stafford so far, but they have the ball back again in their own territory again, which so far has been great news for the Titans. All 14 of their points came from down there. But the Rams are going to try to keep this one interesting, down by 11 to the Titans, playing without Derrick Henry, but playing with Adrian Peterson in their backfield, wearing number 8, by the way. What a time. Let's go ahead and hear from Chiefs head coach Andy Reid. Should have some interesting things to say here following up on the victory. Not an impressive performance by the offense, but a strong one from the defense and special teams, and just enough offensively. We'll get to Andy Reid right after this.
Andy Reid is presented by Robert Brogdon Buick GMC and Robert Brogdon Olathe Kia. Visit BrogdonAutomotive.com. And by Andy's Frozen Custard. Let me tell you about my other favorite Andy. Andy from Andy's Frozen Custard. He's from KC, never misses a game, and serves the world's finest frozen custard. Grab a pick 6 from one of 9 area locations and tailgate at Andy's. Grab one today.
Let's hear from Andy Reid. Told you already, the only real injury of note here is that Lucas Niang left with the rib injury. Then Andrew Wiley finished out the game at right tackle. Previously starting right tackle Mike Rimmers was inactive today with a knee. But let's go ahead and hear the injury report and the opening statements from Chiefs head coach Andy Reid.
Okay. As far as injuries go, really Lucas Niang is the only one. He hurt his ribs there and had to come out. Andrew did a nice job of filling in for him on short notice there. So, listen, I want to thank our fans, man. They kind of won the game for them out there. There were a lot of Green Bay fans. They travel like our fans travel, and I thought we were able to drown them out, which was a thing of beauty there. I thought special teams did a great job, and Dave had a nice plan. Tommy Townsend, I mean, this had to be his finest game. I mean, he just did a tremendous job. Field position was a key, and he took care of that. The blocked field goal by 97, I thought him doing what he did there was very good. Snead's pick, I thought was a big play for us as we went, and I thought our defense we did a nice job against the run game. We did a nice job against the pass game, pressuring the quarterback. We didn't hold back. Guys played hard and aggressive. We've seen things that have happened. You saw things today that happened. So with teams that are favored, and you have to bear down every week the best you can and find a way to win. Every week. And then I just thought our last drive was kind of vintage Patrick, Kelsey, Tyreek, the guy 17 McCole had a nice play. So, and then the rest of that time, we were kind of in the second half, we were kind of shooting ourselves in the foot with penalties and not the turnovers, but the penalties. And so that we can work on. You can't work on the win if it's a loss, right? You can't do that. They go down as W's. They don't keep score on those. So I'd rather work on getting better and still have the opportunity to win a game. And so that's how we finished. That's how we finished this one. Anyways, with that, time's yours.
Not just yet. It's not, because it's time's ours right now. I think that's all fair from Andy Reid. I do not think that they have any obligation to apologize for winning ugly. You'd like to see more of that vintage Patrick Mahomes, vintage Tyreek Hill, vintage Travis Kelce, as Reid alluded to there, like on that last drive. I just wonder, how long it's going to take if they're able to do that consistently. What will it take to bring that out of them and to bring that back into the offense, to push back on what defenses are doing? It's going to be a process. The frustrating thing is that it's already been a process for quite a while, but still a little bit of time left to get right. And here's one other thing real quick that just sort of struck me. In the larger kind of annoying conversations that can be had about, they won. So, blah, blah. Who cares? They won. That's dumb. But it's also dumb to say everything's a disaster, even though that they won. I think both of those things are unreasonable. What winning does in a context like this is that it buys you a little more time to figure your bleep out. If the Chiefs were 4-5, there's no wiggle room around right now. And we'd be talking about this Raiders game next week as they need to be right immediately. After an ugly win followed by an ugly loss. In reality, it's two ugly wins in a row, which has bought them a little bit of breathing room. And also, you can believe that they could win ugly again against the Raiders and continue to hopefully win a little bit less ugly each time. That's probably not a word. Keep that in mind. I do think that's an interesting part of this team's story at this point. A new part of this team story, Melvin Ingram, brought in this week from the Steelers, made his debut today. Andy Reid talked about Ingram, his debut, and the improvement of the pass rush over the last few weeks.
Yeah, I thought he did well. I mean, from just sometimes I'm on the bench, sometimes I'm up, so I don't get to see every snap. But But what I saw in practice, I liked it. It looked like it carried over. He's very, very smart, and he's got good leadership, and I could feel that today on the ones I was watching. And then he was bringing it. He did a nice job. And the guys, our guys welcomed him in, which isn't always the case with teams. And then Brendan used all of them. He used all the guys. And so everybody had a chance to get out there and rattle it around a little bit.
Andy, thinking of that area with the pass rush, how much of what you guys have been able to generate the past couple of weeks do you think?
Yeah, well, this line here, this wasn't one that's banged up. I mean, that's a good offensive line right there. They're going to challenge you a little bit. So I was proud of our guys for stepping up and greeting that the way they did,
I'm going to keep it moving so we can get to Patrick Mahomes here shortly, but there's Andy Reid on the pass rush. What about on the offensive side of the ball? A little more on that pass from Mahomes to Tyreek Hill to end the game, and what went into that play?
We had the play. We had the play even before the timeout part of it. There wasn't any discussion there, Nate. We knew what we were going to do, and we had it. Sometimes you call the timeout to get everybody over. Just calm them down, and here we go. And that's the way this was. Everybody was kind of on the same page with it. Yeah.
All season you come in here, and it seems that there's been a similar we can play better.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering, how would you rate Patrick's confidence compared to a year ago in that last play that Nate was asking about? Is that the kind of thing?
Yeah, it just felt good. That felt good right there. I mean, that's what he did. They were on the same page, and it's not Patrick, it's not Kels, it's not the O-line, it's not Tyreek. It's everybody kind of getting on the same page and feeling those things. And so going back and looking at it, I think that's a plus. And coming out of the game that way, I mean, you run the clock out by doing those kind of things. Now, there's some things that we'll look at earlier in the game that we weren't on the same page, and so we've got to take care of that.
That's kind of interesting. That again, you're saying it's not confidence or it's not who they are, but it's being on the same page and all that. Again, that's something that loses its luster a little bit if that's a conversation you're having in week 9, 10, 11, 12, whatever, than if you're having that conversation in week 2, 3, 4. But again, still a lot of football to be played. You have to stay in contention at this point. And again, look, I'm not going to tell you I'm not being revisionist. That's very different than the expectations we had for this team coming into the season. But now, at this point, that's where they're at. Like, it's relatively simple. That's just who they are. They have some things to figure out still, and they need to stay in contention while they do it. Here is, this is interesting, Andy Reid talking about the Chiefs' hot start this week, and I wonder if he goes back to last week at all. We're talking about the great first drive the Chiefs had, and then the fact that they really weren't able to string together another drive like that again at any point throughout the rest of the game.
Yeah, we're kind of shooting ourselves in the foot. I mean, you can see it. They're not secrets to this. If you look at it, if you're taking steps back, whether it's turnovers, whether it's penalties, fumble and you recover, any loss of yardage makes a long, consistent drive a little tough. I mean, that's what we were better today. We didn't have the turnovers and that. So we just got to take care of those penalties like at crucial times. You're not having a heart attack, are you?
No.
Oh, you're grabbing your heart, man.
I was asking you a while back about your identity as a team. You said maybe we're still trying to find it. A couple games later, do you feel like y'all have that?
We're getting there. We got to keep bearing down and take care of some of these things. And there's a variety of these penalties, right? But this game here, that stalled some drives, and we got to be better than that. Drop balls, that's another one. We had drop balls today. I mean, you can't drop balls. Those they kill you on drives.
You mentioned back to Mahomes. You mentioned not being on the same page a few times earlier in the game. What, if anything, are you guys working on to try to get that rhythm and chemistry back?
Yeah, when I say not on the same page, it's working. Is it working? Are we dropping the ball? Are we having penalties? Are we doing these things? So it just doesn't. It's got to all fit, and that's what we've done in the past. This is a new team, and we've got some pieces in there that we got to, that we're taking care of and learning and all that. So, but those are plays that we normally make. The important thing was that we did come together there at the end, and then we had productive plays. And listen, I'm part of that, so I can do better and put them in position to get these things too. So I mean, we've all got a little piece of this. Yeah.
It's kind of interesting because I don't know. I feel like through several weeks it was about execution, then it was about turnovers. They didn't turn the ball over tonight, so you just sort of have that issue of being on the same page, not shooting yourself in the foot, no unforced errors or whatever kind of terminology you want to use. I think at some point you just kind of end up at a point where you say, it's just not really been working. And that's frustrating because, again, it's not very satisfying. Like the turnover luck side of things, kind of frustrating because some of it is bad luck and some of it's bad execution, some of it's bad plays, bad choices, whatever. It just, sometimes there are unsatisfying answers to some of these things. And we're all sitting around here trying to figure out what's wrong with the offense. If the Chiefs knew specifically what was wrong, they would do something different. There are solvable parts and solvable issues, and then there's the elements of it that you just have to hope eventually come out in the wash, I guess. It's also very hard to know without being in the building and in the meetings and stuff like that, which obviously we're not. They went for it on fourth down several times, which I appreciated. One play call certainly did not work, but the Chiefs did go for it in good go situations on fourth down today. Andy Reid was asked about some of those go situations and the evolution of their decision-making there.
Well, we had both lined up. We had the offense and the special team, just to kind of, throw a wrinkle in there. So, but we were going to go for it, and that's what we were going to do. So we need to do better on that. We need to get it. You surely don't want to do that. I was proud of our defense for stepping up and shutting it down right there. They did a nice job with that. So they didn't get points off of it.
That's interesting, and also interesting watching the Titans just snuck for the first down just now in the Sunday Night Football game. We're seeing a much more aggressive form of football. Like right now, the Titans, so they are in the red zone, snuck it on 4th and 1. They're up 14-3. A field goal there would make it a 2-possession game. Mike Vrabel said, we're inside the 10 right now. We want to go all the way and get 7, and we believe that we can get a yard for the sake of potentially being able to add 4 extra points down here. 21-3 in the first half feels a lot better than 17-3 does, but 17-3 feels better than 14-3. Well, you're seeing, again, the evolution of teams being more willing to evolve there, and I wish the Chiefs would go for it a little more than they have. There have been a couple times where it's kind of stuck in my craw a little bit, that they have been inconsistent, but today they were more consistent, and I'm very happy about that. Also, a good coaching decision from Andy Reid to challenge that muffed punt. He talked about what he saw in that play.
I saw it. I saw it. But they did help me upstairs, too, but I saw it. I mean, I saw it hit the leg there, the knee area.
Good to know that everyone's on the same page on that front. Back to the defensive side, Andy Reid talked about Steve Spagnuolo's use of the blitz this evening as Spags kind of went back to some of the bread and butter blitzing that he is so often known for.
Yeah, so, I mean, I know enough coaches in the league. It presents a problem. And, the offensive coaches will tell you that. It's not an easy scheme to defend or to block. So I just I think he's very good at that. I mean, that's what he does.
It is, and he's gotten away from it a little bit this year, but good to see him back on it again today and cause some problems for Jordan Love. Back on the offensive side here, Andy Reid was asked about Travis Kelce's performance, some of the visible frustrations you've been able to see from Kelce this year.
So, again, I thought he did a nice job. He worked through doubles. He worked through the halo technique where they kind of wrap arms around him. I thought the officials did a good job of managing him, and some of the things that they were attempting to do early. And then, he had the one drop, but he also had some big plays in there. So he did a nice job.
Travis Kelce plays a tough brand of football to defend, but the way you do defend it has to be incredibly frustrating to play against, or to play for, I guess, from Kelce's perspective. Teams have just been bashing his head in, especially this year, and the way they've covered him also just given him a lot less work. It's frustrating. Got to be frustrating for him. Andy Reid did take a little bit of time to answer a question here about the opposing quarterback. Obviously not Aaron Rodgers this evening, but young Jordan Love in his first career start.
Yeah, listen, I thought he had good poise, and for his first start against a complicated defensive look like Spags can present, I thought he handled himself well. I'm glad we took care of the run game like we did. I think they probably came in and we're going to run the ball on us. And by the way, Matt's done a great job with that team. But I think that they weren't able to do that. So my hat goes off to Spags, the game plan he had, and everything that went with it with the players.
Titans just did it again, by the way. Naked boot on a little play action for Ryan Tannehill on 4th and goal from the 1 or the 2. Touchdown there. Love an aggressive play on 4th down. Adrian Peterson in the backfield. I do hope he scores a touchdown at some point, just so Adrian Peterson can have a touchdown in the year 2021, because that man will be running the ball 4 yards at a time until the heat death of the universe. Good stuff there from Andy Reid on Jordan Love. I got distracted by the live football happening in front of me. And again, we'll try to get you a good chunk of that tonight here on Sports Radio 810. Last clip, though, from Andy Reid. He was asked, at what point do they say as a team that they won't apologize for winning?
Yeah, we don't.
That's funny. I really was. I saw it was a 6-second long clip, and I wondered what was going to happen there. Yeah, they don't. Nor should they. They are justified not to. Take your dubs where you can find them. Just hopefully you can figure out the way to get back to the best version of this offense along the way. We're going to go straight from Andy Reid to Patrick Mahomes. Not even a full commercial break. Just don't go anywhere for the next 30 seconds or so.
Patrick Mahomes' press conference is brought to you by your Kansas City Acura dealers. They are partnering with Patrick Mahomes in support of his 15 in the Mahomes Foundation. Test drive to make a difference and enter to win a Mahomes jersey. By Xfinity Internet. Stay connected with Wi-Fi coverage that delivers the speed, reliability, and coverage you need. Can your internet do that? And by Westlake Ace Hardware, your home convenience store. Ready with the best brands and the right advice you need to get your quick fixes done even quicker. Stop into your nearest neighborhood Westlake Ace Hardware today.
Let's hear from Patrick Mahomes. He was asked about that last drive where the Chiefs put the game on ice, and that being a little bit more like some of the vintage Chiefs offensive stuff we've gotten so used to seeing, and if they can build some momentum off of that.
Yeah, I think that and the first drive of the game that we had is real similar to last week, really. The first drive coming out and kind of doing what we normally have done, and then kind of stalling out the whole game. And then you see that at the end of the day, those last drives that we've had these last 2 weeks, guys came to play and they stepped up when their number was called. And so obviously we're not playing offensively the way we wanted to and the way we expect to, but we're finding ways to get wins. Defense is playing great football. Special teams is doing a great job. And then until we find that same mojo that we've had for so long, we're still battling through. Guys are stepping up and making plays to win football games.
I think that's all totally fair. You got to acknowledge that you're not playing your best football because you don't want to be delusional. Patrick Mahomes is not delusional. Patrick Mahomes knows what this offense is capable of better than any of us right now because he's doing it. He is on top of it. But with that being said, you also get those moments, and maybe there's a little bit of a feeling there that's something that they can, again, spin into continual success from this point forward. Here's him talking a little bit more about that pass to Tyreek Hill there on 3rd down.
Patrick, can you take us through that last 3rd down pass?
Yeah, obviously we got the false start that moved us back, and so Coach Reid, he believed in us. He gave us a chance to put the ball in my hands, called a play for Tyreek. They did a pretty good job of covering it at first. I thought the offensive line did a great job of a 5-man rush of stepping up and giving me a pocket. Then I scrambled it out, saw Tyreek, and I know if I get it to him, he can make a play on it, and he did.
You all surprised by the play call, knowing that you guys needed to really keep the clock running in that that stuff?
I wasn't. I mean, if you've seen us the last few years, no matter how we're playing, Coach Reid has the confidence and gives us the confidence that we're going to go out there and make something happen. And that's what happened today. Is we had a couple big plays in that last drive. We were able to get some completions, move the ball, get the first downs we needed to run the timeout.
I like that call also. I mean, again, I lean aggressive, I suppose. There was a punt on a 4th and I guess it was after maybe it was a false start that took him out of punt or out of go range. If memory serves, I like an aggressive style of play, but I can acknowledge where this offense has made me a little bit less trigger happy. Perhaps I was glad to see them throw the ball there. I thought the chance to get that first down was more important than the chance to burn a little more time off the clock. I think the Packers might have. I guess they're out of timeout at that point. But it was a 2-minute warning, is what it was out of. So. I'm glad that they were able to call that play. I think that was absolutely worth the risk, even if they hadn't converted it. You got it. Then the Packers have to go drive and try to get within. You have to go get a touchdown within a couple minutes. It's a tall order there for an offense that had not gotten it done against the Chiefs' defense. Again, the offense clearly has had its struggles. Mahomes was asked about some of the issues offensively they've had outside of that opening drive that worked so well.
Yeah, I mean, it's just little things here and there. I mean, that's how it is in this league. We've been blessed enough that we've been able to execute at a high level these last few years, including pretty much the beginning half of this season, that we don't have to worry about them. But you're seeing that with the little things here and there on drives or stalling out, and that starts with me getting us into the right play and making the right throw to try to get a completion.
You know, it can be any number of things, any number of factors there, but nothing earth-shattering on that front. You heard Frank Clark earlier talk about this team trying to play with a little more swagger once again. Patrick Mahomes was showing some more emotion there after that third down conversion that iced the game. He was asked about that.
Yeah, I mean, it was a battle all day long. I mean, we felt like we had good plays and that we were moving the ball and then we'd stall out. And it kind of all day it felt like that. And then at the end of the day, when we had a chance to go down there and really win it, after the defense had played a great game, guys stepped up and made plays, and I kind of let that out of like that frustration. We made it happen, and I mean, I'd rather be walking away with the win than a lot of yards. So I'm glad we got the win.
It seems like it just hasn't been as easy this year. Where's your confidence level?
I mean, I'm still extremely confident. I mean, I know we're going to find it as an offense. We have too many good players. We have too special of the coaches in this organization to not find it. The offensive line, I'm really confident in them. They're playing really good football these last few weeks, and I think as they come together, it's going to keep this offense going. And I mean, I expect us to start making plays here soon.
I kind of do too. I don't know. I don't know how many times you have to fool me before it's shame on me, right? Fool me for 9 games, shame on me, I guess. But I would not have made much money up to this point betting against Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs offense. So I don't think I'm going to fully start just yet, even though I totally understand that this is not the version of this team that we have seen over the last couple of years. It's weird, man. It's just a very weird dynamic because you know the ceiling. You're not having to guess how good they can be. You're not saying that Zach Wilson could put it all together. It's Patrick Mahomes. Blue check mark, verified MVP quarterback, one of the best quarterbacks we've ever seen at his peak. I tend to think he'll end up back there. Hopefully for the Chiefs' sake, it's sooner rather than later. One play that got a little bit of criticism on the broadcast that I'll save my thought for after we hear what Mahomes said about it. That deep shot to McCole Hardman, then the broadcast spent some time talking about how he had Travis Kelce underneath. He was asked what he saw on that play.
Yeah, I saw Trav come open. I kind of just wanted to give it a chance. I mean, even though their defenses are playing so deep, you want to still have the chance to take those shots. I missed a couple of them today. Yeah, you just got to know when to take it and when to just take it underneath, and that's something that I continue to have to get better at as the season goes on.
But it seems like something because you're getting fewer of those shots, maybe you feel more compelled to take them.
Yeah, I think I'm just trying to give ourselves guys some chances. I mean, it was close. I mean, McCole almost had a chance. He kind of got pulled up there at the end, he tried to run underneath it and make a play happen, and that's kind of the chances you take when you take the deep shot. Is sometimes you want to go for that deep shot, get that 60-yard touchdown, whatever it is, but you could have a 20-yard completion over the middle. So it's kind of that risk-reward factor.
I am completely good with that line of logic. was first down also, second and third down. I think Kelsey dropped one, and then there was another incompletion. I think Kelsey dropped second down. There was something else on third. I could go find it, but me scrolling with it made me lose my spot in my notes, which I need. But I have no issue with Mahomes passing up, I don't know, maybe it's a 90% chance, 15 yards, to try to hit a 50-50 ball that's not 50-50 catch interception, but a 50% chance of hitting McCole Hardman for a 60-yard touchdown. Hardman had a good angle. There were two defenders behind him and kind of to each side of him, but were not in any way to make a play on the ball. If Hardman gets a little bit of a better angle there, if Mahomes takes a tiny bit off of it, that's the touchdown that makes us all say the Chiefs' offense is fixed. So I would be very hesitant to completely hop on board with the Troy Aikman analysis on that play of you got to take this. Now, look, again, 15 or 20 yards to Travis Kelce is different than 3 yards to Darrell Williams. You want to take chain-moving plays, but if you have a shot that you like on first down, I want Patrick Mahomes to take that, because ultimately that's going to be the thing that makes you realize that the Chiefs' offense is back whenever that ends up happening. You don't want risky throws on 3rd and 6 if the first down is right there, obviously. And I think that reasonable people could say, no, he needs to take 15 yards to Kelce every time that it's there. I don't care what happens behind it. I do think that that's reasonable, because guaranteed yards are hard to find, and getting the ball to Travis Kelce is always good. But I have no issue with Mahomes' logic or his choice there. Also on those deep balls, Mahomes was asked how close he thinks he is on getting those to start hitting downfield.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we're close. I mean, I'm saying you can see drives here and there where we're that team that everybody knows and loves. But you got to be able to consistently do that throughout every single drive in the game. And I mean, it hasn't been any different defenses than what we saw at the beginning of the year. We're just not executing at a higher level. I mean, we're just going to continue to go to work, practice, go through the process. Luckily enough, our defense is playing really good football and keeping us in these games, and then we're making plays at the end of the game to win them.
He's right. All of that's correct. Everything there is, yep, yes. If I went back into a diatribe, I would just be repeating things I said 30 seconds ago. So we'll move on to the next one here. Patrick Mahomes was asked how important this win was with the rest of the division right now starting to lose some football games.
Yeah, it was extremely important. I mean, obviously, Aaron didn't play, but that's a really good football team. I mean, a really good defense. I thought Jordan played a good football game, and they have playmakers all around. And so for us to be able to win a game like that in that fashion, it shows that we know how to win. We know how to find a way to win games. And, I mean, it's all in front of us now. I mean, we play the Raiders this upcoming week. They're a great football team that's played a lot of great football this season. And so it's about what can we do this week to be better, to go out there and try to find a way to get a win.
It's crazy, but I think you could make the argument that the Raiders have played better football as of late than the Chiefs have, except that the Raiders lost to the Giants today, who the Chiefs beat in a frustrating game last week. That's just the division, man. That's football without a defined main character. Right now, they don't. I mean, I guess it's the Bucs, but the Chiefs aren't going to have to worry about them until February if they get there. And right now, they don't look like a team that's going to play February football. But I don't know who in the AFC has looked like a team that will be playing February football. That's sort of the wild thing. Who in the AFC looks like they are really going to be definitely in contention in late January? I would have said Buffalo 12 hours ago. Then they scored 6 points and lost to the Jaguars. What? Are you kidding me? Football's wild. Here's something a little bit more X's and O's from Patrick Mahomes. He was asked if he's seeing things or preparing for things in practice that he isn't seeing in games.
I think practice, especially these last few weeks, has been crisp. I think we have to execute when it comes to game day. It's different on game day. You can practice and practice as hard as you want and have great practices, but if you're not going to go out there and execute game days, it won't matter. So we'll go through that process of continue to keep that practice tempo up, continue to work on things here and there, and then hopefully it translates to the game, and we can find that same mojo we had at the beginning of the season with the defense playing like they're playing now.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I don't know. You've got to stay on top of everything throughout the course of a practice of figuring out what you might be looking for, and then defenses are going to try to show you things that you weren't seeing in practice, but that's a bit of a tricky wicket, as they say. Last thing here from Patrick Mahomes. He was asked if he gave any advice to Jordan Love after the game.
Yeah, it's well documented. He's kind of a similar situation that I was in, where you're behind a great quarterback that's done it for a while, that does all the things the right way, and so I just learn, man. You just learn as much as you possibly can, knowing that you want to play, but whenever your time comes, you have to be ready. And so for him, I know it's going to continue to learn. He's a ton of talent, and when his time comes, I'm sure he'll be ready.
Good advice, generally. Keep your eyes open. Keep learning. You can keep that across any number of places in this world. So take Patrick Mahomes' advice. We will take a break. Advice, maybe. Break, certainly. And then hopefully we'll get to talk to our dear friend Matt Derrick on the other side of the break. If not, we'll hear from Matt LaFleur. How about that? We're going to either hear from Matt LaFleur or Matt Derrick on the other side of this break right here on the Sports Radio 810 WHB Postgame Show. It's presented by the Missouri Lottery. Remember to play it forward with the Missouri Lottery. More play and more power with Powerball with Double Play. For an extra $1, players have the chance to win up to $10 million in a separate drawing. Missouri Lottery. Play responsibly. Also brought to you by CBD American Shaman. Free CBD samples every day. One of the football Mats whenever we come back.
You are listening to exclusive post-game coverage on Kansas City's home for the NFL. Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Brought to you by Casey's own CBD American Shaman. Come on into your local Shaman store for a free sample of stress-sacking CBD. Everything is better with the feather.
Building a pool is not a job for amateurs. If you want a pool you'll enjoy for a lifetime, call the pros at Pro-Built Pool and Patio. Pro-Built Pool and Patio is the largest provider of fiberglass pools in the region. Unlike liners, fiberglass pools from Imagine Pools and Pentair Pool Equipment are built to last, and they have over 200 different design options to fit your space. Pro-Built Pool and Patio offers competitive pricing, financing, and the fastest install timelines. Get a free quote by calling 816-786-3893 or go to ProBuiltPatio.com.
The Whole Person connects people with disabilities to the resources they need to live independently and enjoy the many opportunities this great city provides. We're focused on creating a fully accessible community where opportunities and choices are not limited by disability. The Whole Person delivers programs and services that enhance the confidence of people with disabilities by providing the skills needed to live, learn, and work in the Kansas City Metro. The Whole Person serves both Missouri and Kansas. Learn more by visiting thewholeperson.org.
S'mores jackhammers are new at Andy's. Vanilla frozen custard, graham crackers, hot fudge, and marshmallow jacked down the middle. Andy's frozen custard, 9 Kansas City locations, and more on the way. Top your day with a smile at Andy's.
Joint pain relief doesn't have to mean drugs and surgery. Now there's a better alternative that patients are raving about. This is Stephen St. John from my friends at QC Kinetics, local medical professionals using natural biologic treatments, highly concentrated healing properties from your own body put directly into the affected joint, restoring and repairing damaged tissue. If you're tired of the Band-Aid solutions like drugs and steroids and you really want to avoid surgery, you need to check out QC Kinetics. Regenerative, restorative, natural treatments for knee pain, back pain, shoulder pain, and pain in your hips. Don't continue to suffer, and don't go in for surgery until you check this out. See if you're a candidate. QC Kinetics. Call 816-412-6299. That's 816-412-6299. They're located right off 435 and State Line. Non-surgical pain relief with lasting results. QC Kinetics. 816-412-6299.
The Kansas City Comets are coming to T-Mobile Center. The Comets are heading downtown for a very special match against the Tacoma Stars at T-Mobile Center on January 22nd at 7 p.m. All lower bowl tickets except for front row seats are just $24. Comets soccer is fast, furious, high-scoring action for the entire family. Get your tickets today to the Kansas City Comets' very special match at T-Mobile Center on January 22nd against the Tacoma Stars by calling 888-9-COMETS or by visiting tmobilecenter.com.
They punt with Townsend. The rookie will stay away. Did that hit the Green Bay player? And they're saying touchback. That's the signal. as Chris Lamons recovered. And so the call on the field is that did not hit the Green Bay Packer player that was falling.
After review, the ball did hit the receiver's foot and therefore recovered by Kansas City at the 9-yard line. It will be Kansas City's ball, first and goal at the 10.
That was a heck of a play, and our play of the game today brought to you by Central Bank of the Midwest. Chiefs special teams were on fire all day today on every angle. Harrison Butker was perfect. Tommy Townsend was darn near perfect. And the coverage was great. I guess there was the near muffed punt return for the Chiefs, but nothing disastrous there ultimately, which is, pretty much what we strive for, I think. Just, hey, you know what? Nothing disastrous around here, and that'll do. That's our goal when we talk to Matt Derrick right now, right here on Sports Radio 810. He's of ChiefsDigest.com. You can also follow him on Twitter at Matt Derrick, and his segment with us every week is brought to you by Bob Hamilton Plumbing, Heating, AC Rooter, and Electrical. You better buzz Bob, now offering electrical services, panels, wiring, generators, updating fixtures. They do it all, now offering a whole home electrical inspection for just $99. Call 888-4BOB. Remember the 913. Matt, tell me, was Tommy Townsend's hair as beautiful at the press conference podium as I imagined? Did it catch the light in a way that only beautiful hair can?
Yeah, it was very Josh Brisco-esque.
High praise for Tommy Townsend.
Very high praise indeed. Yes, that was. He has flowing mane. That,
yeah.
There's just certain guys that you see from a distance and you know who it is.
Right. You can see them from the other side of. You could see Tommy Townsend's hair from Jordan Love's mom's seat.
Yes, you could. And, that reminds me of a story. And I like to tell stories, as you know.
Please.
And this is going to throw another team in town under the bus.
Excellent.
But it was like 15 years ago, I had opening day tickets to the Royals in row ZZ of the 300 section. So I was sitting up against a fence?
Sure.
It's like there's like a fence up there, I assume, to keep Royals fans from jumping at the top of the stadium. But I could see my car from the stadium, so I was looking out over the fence.
Right.
And in the third inning, these people came up to sit next to me, and I thought that they looked very, very familiar. And the more I looked at it, the more I realized this was the woman and her family who was, the family of a veteran who was serving overseas, who was out there for the first pitch ceremony. And the tickets that the Royals gave them for being part of the first pitch ceremony was next to me in row ZZ.
Yeah. I think that's basically the point of the Buck O'Neil legacy seat now, is so that doesn't happen again, right?
Exactly. That's you got to think that. So, hey, is there what can we do? I mean, could we get the Derrick Thomas legacy seat for Jordan Love's family the next time they come to town?
Or even just like the Randy Mahomes legacy seat, right? Of like just have a spot for the mom of the quarterback. I think that's all. Just call it the MQB, not the MMQB because that's taken, but just the mom quarterback seat.
Mom quarterback seat. You know what? Yeah, I'm sold. I'm on board.
I am suddenly very worried about who we're throwing under the bus for that. Probably not any people that we actually. I just wonder who thought that was a good idea. Who thought no one will probably look for Jordan Love's mom, who's been at every game in his entire life. We'll put her on the space station.
We'll see. I mean, and I think some people pointed this out on the Twitter. You get two groups of tickets for every team. For the visiting team, they get a certain allotment of tickets, and some of them are very, very good, and some of them are very, very bad. And so, hey, you guess who gets the good tickets? The families of Aaron Rodgers and those kind of guys.
Right.
Guess who sits up in the nosebleeds next week for the Raiders? It's Chad Henne's family.
Right. But they didn't get the upgrade whenever Jordan Love got the upgrade. That's the issue.
That's the thing, is there was no upgrade. But you know what? That's the life of the family of a backup quarterback. You're always treated like second-class citizens.
And I'm just guessing that there's a seat somewhere with Shailene Woodley's name on it that was not filled today that could have belonged to Jordan Love's mom. Anyway.
Exactly. Probably somewhere on the club level.
Yeah, I would imagine so, but ultimately Jordan Love's mom was immunized against good seats, unfortunately, which is too bad. You know what? That was a great story and a very good sidetrack here on Sports Radio 810 WHB Kansas City. Beards didn't even have to tell me to do it that time. And also, not a good enough distraction that you can keep me from asking you about some of the actual things we saw on the football field today. Do you want
I tried.
You really did. How do you want to go order-wise here in terms of good news, bad news, great news?
Let's start with, we got good news, bad news, great news?
Yeah.
Okay, let's start with good, go bad, then go great.
Okay, that sounds perfect.
That way we finish strong.
Yeah, I like that. It's a negative Oreo, basically. The gross is in the middle. Let's start with the defense. Look, I said this earlier, and because I don't want to come off as like snarky or anything on this particular front. Usually I do, but it's not L'Jarius Sneed or Frank Clark or Steve Spagnuolo's fault that Aaron Rodgers didn't play in this game. They ultimately prepared for one quarterback who they knew was going to be out there for the majority of last week, half the week, whatever. And look, if Aaron Rodgers would have played, I'd love to know what you think the score would have been, but he didn't. And they got Jordan Love, and they still had Devontae Adams, and they've got a good duo of running backs, and they held them to 7 points that came on one play where Dan Sorensen missed 2 tackles. That's a good effort from this defense. They caught a break by not playing Aaron Rodgers. I get that. But they beat who was out there in front of them, and they beat him pretty bad.
They beat an NFL team with an NFL quarterback with an NFL offense. Yeah. I mean, it wasn't the quarterback that you thought, but, I mean, the Packers didn't just stop being a good football team because, Aaron Rodgers wasn't their quarterback this week. And remember, I mean, Aaron Rodgers, with the same kind of group except with 3 receivers you'd never heard of, beat the Cardinals last week. So, I mean, the only thing that you really had that you were going up against this week is that you were going up with a team that was a hot mess this week.
Right.
And that probably played into the Chiefs' favor. But you know what? Guess what? They did.
Yep.
They solidly beat that team, which, you know what? They were going up against a offense that was battered and beaten around like the Ravens and the Eagles earlier this season, and guess what? Defense didn't do the job those weeks.
Yep.
And this week they did their job. So, I give them mad props for the fact that they did their job. They had the Packers 0 for 9 on on third downs until midway through the fourth quarter. They were getting pressure on the quarterback, and this wasn't a beaten up offensive line. I mean, they were getting things done. So defense won this game.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no other way around it. I mean, defense, special teams won this game.
Yep. And some of the stuff defensively also, I think, can carry over to better quarterbacks or more polished offenses or whatever. Because obviously, I mean, Jordan Love's like a guy playing his first game for the most part. But you have continued to see Frank Clark, and I've mentioned this 1,000 times also. I really thought his press conference from whatever weekday it was, a week or two ago, was super interesting, talking about like the injury issues. He brought up again today of like, I've just never really been injured, and so that's been really hard for me. They go, yeah, man, this dude's hamstrings weren't quite right throughout the first several weeks of the season, and then him ramping up to full speed a little more slowly. That makes sense, and it doesn't sound like an excuse to me. It sounds like a reasonable explanation of his ramp up. You got Melvin Ingram out there, who looked like he made a couple of nice plays early on and got some good reps. Chris Jones is a menace, especially on the inside, where he seemed to live today. I don't know if it was exclusively on the inside or not, but it was a lot more, and you heard Frank Clark say that he's moved back to the 3-tech spot, which I thought was kind of interesting. L'Jarius Sneed making a play on the ball twice, and one time coming down with a pick. That stuff should be able to translate, I would think. Spags blitzing more. Maybe he won't do it as much against a veteran like Derek Carr next week, but some of that stuff worked, and I would like to think that some of that will be able to translate in the upcoming weeks. What do you make of that? Do you think that's the case?
Yeah, I mean, having Melvin Ingram, Chris Jones, and Frank Clark on the field all at the same time is going to translate a lot of times.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to be a good thing. I too was really taken by some of the things that Frank Clark said, specifically because he kind of projected them about the team, but I really felt like that they were about himself more than anything. Because when he's talking about how that he thinks that the team's been having more fun the last couple of weeks, that really seems a lot more about Frank Clark's having more fun the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
That, you know, that things were kind of dark for him at the beginning of this season with the injuries and with other things hanging over his head. He has looked and sounded like a guy who is much more comfortable, who's having a lot more fun, who's a lot more relaxed over the last couple of weeks than he was earlier in the year. And you know what? It's translated onto the football field. I mean, I think that these were two of the best games that Frank Clark has played since probably 2019. I mean, I thought looked really, really good the last couple of weeks. He's been getting pressure on the quarterback. And again, that is something that if Frank Clark and Chris Jones are healthy and productive, that is the one thing that's going to make this team better than they were in the first half of the season. And I think we're seeing that.
I said on the pregame show we did today that I think Chris Jones and Frank Clark, if they're able to be the version of themselves that they're, you know, being asked to be, and if Patrick Mahomes can play like an MVP again, those two things totally change the trajectory of where this team goes. So let's take that segue to the bad, which is that the offense put up 13 points today, and that didn't have anything to do with Jordan Love or Aaron Rodgers or anything. They had a great first drive. They didn't turn the ball over, which if you told me, though, if you would have cut me off after the first drive and said, hey, there will be no turnovers the rest of this game, and they're going to get good field position, especially once, what do you think happens here? I might have said they're back at 30. And to put up 13 is not ideal. What did you make of the offensive side today?
Yeah, gosh, this is, I think I said it last week. What is it, an enigma wrapped in a riddle, wrapped in a jelly donut?
Yes.
It still is.
Donuts.
I mean, yeah, if you had told me that the Chiefs did not turn the football over, and I think, 6 penalties?
Something like that,
yeah, I would have been with you. I would have been like, okay, well, this game was 38-35.
Yeah.
Okay, that sounds like a fun game to watch. No, and if you had told me that the Chiefs were going to have, I think, 4 3-and-outs in the second half, I mean,
they had more 3-and-outs. I mentioned, sorry to cut you off. I meant to mention this earlier in the show, and I forgot to. You just said it. More 3-and-outs today than the entire year up to today combined.
Yeah. This feels like rock bottom. I mean, can this offense perform more poorly than it did today? I mean, yeah, technically. I mean, they could have gone out there with just as much offensive productivity and turned the ball over 4 times.
Right.
So they didn't do that.
Right.
But this seems like rock bottom. I mean, unfortunately, I don't have the box score in front of me, the stat sheet. Didn't they average like 3.8 yards per play?
Yeah, so it was 4.5 yards per pass attempt and 3.1 per rush.
Okay, so I think it comes up to like 3.8 then maybe. I don't know, maybe it's a little higher than that. But
I think it crawled up a little bit on that last play, which gave Patrick Mahomes an extra chunk of yards there, getting him to a crispy 166.
Yeah. I can't explain it. I mean, there's nothing that makes sense about this because, I mean, like I said, other than the second half, they had the one drive that was absolutely torpedoed by a couple of penalties. And actually, the penalties didn't torpedo them because then they managed to actually get back into a 3rd and 1 and couldn't convert to 3rd and 1. They had another drive where they got a 7-yard run on 1st down and can't convert from 2nd and 3. Some of these things, I mean, I feel like are, once again, I mean, there's clearly the unforced errors, which the unforced errors today were drops. A ton of drops. I haven't seen the official number on the drops, but drops were aplenty.
400 actually. They just came out. 400 drops today.
I would have taken the over. A lot of drops, and that's. I mean, once again, those with the penalties and the turnovers are drive killers. So we can put that in that basket of things that Andy Reid's never seen before.
Yeah.
There was a lot of drops today, and we've seen some drops on occasion, but today they were particularly heinous. So that's perplexing. I mean, we still haven't just seen this offense go out and do its thing, and you can tell. I mean, Patrick Mahomes clearly feels like that this team is just one 60-yard bomb away from everything being awesome and rainbows and flowers again. Because they come out, opening drive, opening script is brutally effective. I mean, 15 plays, touchdown, 64 yards. It wasn't pretty, but once again, it's take what the defense gives you, march down the field, and score. They did that. And then they completely abandon it again. I mean, once again, they stop running the football, which I know you're fine with, so that's okay.
No, I mean in this context, like if there are two safeties 25 yards downfield and your linebackers are backpedaling at the snap, even I think they should run the football.
There you go. But then you look at it once again. I mean, everything that they did effectively on that first drive, they got away from.
Yeah.
They once again they're starting to try and push the ball downfield. Mahomes is bypassing receivers that are open underneath, trying to hit the big play. And, I think it's been shown. I mean, Patrick Mahomes, once again, is one of the best quarterbacks in the league. He didn't just all of a sudden forget how to play football or anything.
Mm-hmm.
But right now, the Chiefs are just struggling, pushing the ball downfield. And that's the only thing that Patrick Mahomes seems to want to do. And if the offensive play calling gives him an opportunity to do that, he's going to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think when you see it on the opening script, when you don't give him the chance to do that, he runs the ball control, game management offense. And I know that's not sexy, but it's probably winning football.
Yeah. I struggle with that a little bit because we just played all of his presser clips last segment, and I thought that his discussion about like taking those shots and wanting those shots and everything, especially situationally on that one to Hardman where he had Kelce open underneath, it was first down, and if Travis Kelce doesn't drop a ball and something else happened on third down, I can't remember what it was, but like if that goes a little bit differently, you don't have to worry too much about that. It was just a shot followed by them moving the chains. Part of me, I'm just kind of two minds on this one, because part of me goes, look, what you just described is part of what makes Patrick bleeping Mahomes, is that he's looking for shots downfield that other guys would not look to. Now, there's a difference between passing up an open check down to a running back and going 70 yards downfield, as opposed to an open Travis Kelce 15, 20 yards downfield and going to Mecole Hardman. But also, that wasn't like a 50-50 ball either. It wasn't a jump ball in traffic. Hardman had a pretty good angle, just didn't quite work. But also, this offense, so I appreciate all of that. And I thought what Mahomes said about that made total sense to me. Also, whenever your offense has been moving with these sort of plodding steps or not moving at all, it's hard to pass up a free first down. So I'm curious how you parse that, because I know you understand all of that. Of this is what makes Patrick Mahomes in so many ways, but also it's a balancing act. So how do you split it?
Yeah, it is. And I completely admit, the things that I'm saying to a degree don't make sense.
Right.
Because you're right. I mean, all the things that we're talking about pushing the ball downfield and being able to fit through windows that other quarterbacks can't do, that is what makes him Patrick freaking Mahomes.
Mm-hmm.
But, when that's not working, I mean, somebody's got to be responsible for, making sure that, hey, the trains run on time.
Yeah.
And, and Patrick, I think has shown at this point that he's not, one of his few weaknesses might be that he's not a great self-editor. He can critique himself afterwards. I don't think there's any doubt about that. I think he does a really good job looking at film and seeing where he can improve and grow. But like I said, it's during the plays that, his instinct is always going to be to push the ball as far downfield as possible. And if he's got a guy 60 yards downfield, if the play call has a guy 60 yards downfield, he's going to look for that guy.
Yeah.
And you know what we've been seeing on these opening scripts early? You haven't been seeing them give him that. You're seeing them just work, the middle and the short portions of the field, and you're not seeing, Tyreek Hill running 60 yards downfield.
Right.
Hey, maybe Andy Reid and Eric Bieniemy need to be the editor right now. And, hey, once again, I said it last week, I'll repeat it. All these guys have forgotten more about football than we'll ever know.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, it seems like it shouldn't be this hard for this team, given how good they are.
Yeah. That is what it seems like. And it also is just some, at times, excruciating football, which is crazy because that's not how it's been for a while. I've gotten very used to the fun football. Last thing here, I told you, let's go ahead and end on the great. All I know is that the portions of this game where the Chiefs have to use their foot to move the football, I feel great about. Good special teams day today. That is the unit. You give the game ball straight to Dave Tobe if you want. Not only can Tommy Townsend punt, his holds were not an issue, unlike the Packers had all those issues today. You got a block. You saw the miss for the Packers. Again, we're going to just sort of go out. Hardman didn't lose the muff there. He recovered it, so we're going to just let it ride. Special teams today, that felt good.
Yeah, you could feel comfortable giving your game ball to a lot of different guys. Tommy Townsend was terrific. Harrison Butker hit 2 big field goals. Marcus Kemp and Chris Lehman, the Gunners, were all over the place. When James Winchester, was snapping the ball well, it wasn't putting the laces out anywhere. Townsend, I guess, was holding well too. So hey, give him the credit there.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, special teams and defense won this game. I'll stand by that. Those 2 phases won this game, and I will say this: we haven't talked about them. I think the 2 most underrated guys, and one of them, not necessarily underrated because he was on the podium and had the pick, so he gets all the love.
Mm-hmm.
But Travaris Ward and L'Jarius Sneed were draped on Devontae Adams all day long.
Yeah,
and that dude caught 6 passes for 42 yards on 14 targets. They absolutely shut him down. And even when he got the football, they were bringing him down. Travaris Ward, I think, was tied for the team lead in tackles. Those 2 guys did a lot of what the Chiefs were able to do against this Packers offense, and certainly Jordan Love played a part of it. But what those 2 guys did on Devontae Adams was pretty spectacular today.
And that's another thing that you can point to and say, hey, that can travel with you, because their quarterback position got worse this week, but Devontae Adams is very good at football still, and so that is all very justified. Tell people what they can read at ChiefsDigest.com tonight, Matt.
Talking a little bit about the cornerbacks and the game that they had tonight. Don't know how much we'll be talking about special teams, but we should be. Who knows? I mean, the evening is still young, right?
The only way you can find out, folks, is to go to ChiefsDigest.com, perhaps bookmark it, perhaps make it your homepage, perhaps leave it open on your computer 24/7, perhaps send links and stories to your family members and emails that starts with, forward, Tommy Townsend for MVP, ? That's the only way you can do it, other than, I guess, also following Matt on Twitter at Matt Derrick. That seems like a good strategy, right, Matt?
Those are always fantastic strategies, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate you being my biggest advocate, Josh.
I do my best because, look, since MattDerrick.com went down, I haven't known where to go for my marketing and PR needs, so I've had to pick up that mantle myself. Thank you, Matt.
I'll have to fire that back up for you.
Please do. It's where I did all of my studying to get to this point. I'll talk to you soon.
Take care, guys.
Matt Derrick. Go read his work at ChiefsDigest.com. Follow him on Twitter at Matt Derrick. I think MattDerrick.com has been taken down after we talked about it too much on Almost Entirely Sports. It was a good relic of its time. We'll take a break. We'll go from Matt Derrick to Matt LaFleur whenever we come back here on the Sports Radio 810 WHB Postgame Show, brought to you by the Missouri Lottery. Remember to play it forward with the Missouri Lottery. More play and more power with Powerball with Double Play. For an extra $1, players have the chance to win up to $10 million in a separate drawing. Missouri Lottery. Play responsibly.
You're listening to exclusive post-game coverage on Kansas City's home for the NFL. Sports Radio 810 WHB. Presented by the Missouri Lottery and CBD American Shaman.
Football season is heating up, but is your furnace ready to tackle another cold Kansas City winter? Better call Bob and get a $99 furnace safety inspection and cleaning. Your team is counting on you. Time for a new furnace? Get a brand new one for just $68 a month. Bob Hamilton Plumbing, Heating, AC, Rooter, and Electrical. Better call Bob.
Call 888-4POB. Remember 913.
It's Tim Grunhard, a.k.a. Mr. Truck KC. People are talking about the low inventory of cars in this nation. The best solution is to go see my team at Roberts Robinson Chevrolet Buick GMC. They have over 60 new and used vehicles ready to go off the lot today. If you're needing a car for the future, go see them and pre-order now so they can guarantee that delivery. Come see why customers say, we just make it easy from sales to service. Check them out online at robertsrobinson.com or view their Roberts Robinson Facebook page.
Tired of searching for sports updates in different places? The Xfinity Sportszone gives you the ultimate sports hub experience. Find games, commentary, news, and highlights all in one place. Use the voice remote to get instant access to stats and scores. Just say, "Show me NASCAR" or "Soccer scores." Plus, get notifications with breaking news alerts and more when the game's about to start. Go to Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit an Xfinity store for details. Restrictions apply. Requires Xfinity TV service with X1.
Hey guys, it's Grunny here for my friends at CBD American Shaman. Man, I love football and I love big scores. When Kansas City scores, you score big at your local CBD American Shaman stores the day after the game. If Kansas City puts up 30, it's 30% off all the next day at your local CBD American Shaman store. If they put up 50, you got it, 50% off all the very next day. Now that's a big win. CBD American Shaman. Life is so much better with the feather.
Kevin Kugler here from Westwood One with a preview of Monday Night Football with the Bears at the Steelers. Ben Roethlisberger and Pittsburgh are 4-3, but on a 3-game winning streak and are just a game back in the AFC North. Chicago is looking to break a 3-game losing trend and get past some key injuries, especially on defense. Join Trent Green and me for all the action on Monday Night Football.
Kansas City's home for the National Football League. Sports Radio 810, WHB.
15th play of this drive. Mahomes flips, pass, caught. Kelsey, touchdown, Kansas City.
Believe it or not, that was the Chiefs' only touchdown in this game. The offense is in a weird place, but it was a great call and a great play, and our Andy Reid call of the game brought to you by Olathe Subaru. At Subaru of Olathe, let your love give back during the Subaru Share the Love event. Find your new Subaru now at SubaruofOlathe.com. Last thing we need to make sure we bring to you today here as we recap the Chiefs' victory over the Green Bay Packers. Aaron Rodgers-less Packers nonetheless, but still plenty of love to go around on both sidelines as Jordan Love did not do much offensively other than pick on Dan Sorensen once late in the game. And the Chiefs didn't do much offensively for themselves, but the defense was good and good enough to get the Chiefs a 6-point victory in a game that felt not really always in contention quite until the end because the Packers were unable to do much of anything, but the Chiefs didn't score in the second half. Weird game from a variety of angles, and I want to hear what the Green Bay Packers head coach had to say about it. I'm also sure that he'd have some things to say both about his quarterback tonight and also his previous quarterback. Lots to go into it here from the press conference of Matt LaFleur.
First of all, you got to give the Kansas City Chiefs all the credit. That was a tough-fought football game, a defensive struggle, a playoff-type game. And unfortunately, we didn't do enough to come out on top, and I was really proud of our guys' effort, though, man, because that game could have got out of hand. Certainly, in the first half, some of the struggles we had offensively, some of the miscues on special teams, but our defense against one of the premier offenses in the league, I thought that was a championship-level effort, championship-level execution. I was really proud of those guys. I think, offensively, when you score 7 points, that's just not going to get it done. And unfortunately, this is one of those moments where we always ask our players to be critical of themselves, and this one falls on me squarely. Certainly, for us to be whatever we were, 2 for 12 on third down, obviously didn't have a good enough plan for some of the zero pressures that they brought on us, but I thought our guys battled. I thought Jordan, I was really proud of the way he played. He hung in there. He was taking hits and delivering the ball, and I thought he did a really good job. But I think that ultimately I've got to be better, and this one falls squarely on me.
Matt, that said, how different is this game with Derrick at quarterback today?
Oh, who knows, guys? I mean, yeah, certainly Aaron's had the experience where he can get you out of some situations, but that's why I think especially when you have a young quarterback, you have to have the plan as a coach. You can't rely on that all the time. And we're one of the few teams in the league that has that ability to have that within the offense where he can bail you out of some things. But I don't want to take that, let that take away from Jordan's performance, because I thought he did a really good job. I think ultimately it comes down to myself making sure that we have a better plan to handle those pressures. Certainly we did not do that tonight.
Matt, what happened or what changed when you finally did get rolling in your offense, finally did get going on those drives in the second half?
Well, I think it was that there were some better play calls for some of those situations, and then he just went out and executed. But I thought he battled. Not to say that it was mistake-free by anybody. There were certainly some that came up. I know there were a couple instances where we had some, max protection play pass, and we were cutting guys loose up front that we got to get cleaned up. It wasn't necessarily any one person. There's a lot to get corrected, but I just think, again, squarely, this thing falls on me, and just not having a good enough plan to go out there versus that pressure, especially with a young quarterback.
Matt, there was a fourth down play in the second quarter. You were running down the sidelines during it. What was going on there?
I was just trying to alert the official that we were going to go to Tay and to look for the holding that tends to occur quite often, but it didn't matter.
And on so many of Aaron's throws to Devontae, similar ones that we saw today, there's always that connection. Is that just a matter of Jordan doesn't throw to him that much, and it takes time to develop a rapport like that?
Yeah, I would say that there's some of that, but, for his first game and going out there in a hostile environment, I thought he handled himself exceptionally well.
So what can you do to help on those points this morning to help a quarterback out?
I think it just comes down to the play calls and, having answers to be able to protect against some of that. Anytime you go against zero pressure, if you don't make a team pay, they're going to keep running it. And unfortunately, we didn't make them pay until late in the game. And so, I would anticipate that we're probably going to see some more zero blitz until we get it corrected.
We hear from you.
You have to expect that, didn't you?
Absolutely. I was 100% prepared for it in terms of knew it was going to come, and just the plan wasn't good enough.
Matt, what happened with the run game? A.J. Dillon looks like he and Jordan have a really great connection. He has that 2 big runs of 15 and then 9, and then the second half he just kind of seemed hurt. Yeah, that's on me. I got to get it dialed up, and certainly give the Chiefs a lot of credit because they had a great game plan tonight, and it took us out of a few things that we wanted to get done, and we just got to be better in those situations. Third down, you can't expect to win a game when you're 2 of 12 in that situation. What were you seeing from the Chiefs that caused you to go away from the run game?
Just again, a lot of pressure. It was basically they were either going to play a 2-shell or they're going to come after us, and that was the majority of the night.
Are you able to give Jordan's helmet at all to tell him, some things that you could see just before the radio goes out and help him pick up what might be coming?
Yeah, there's times where that occurs, and I just think that overall the communication between from myself to him, I got to be better.
Hey man, how disappointed are you with the special teams? You had 3 blunders, different types of blunders,
yeah.
But when you put it all together in a game like this with a young quarterback, what do you say for what happened?
Yeah, it's obviously we could have used the 6 points, and we gave them points when we fumbled the ball. So we can't have that happen.
Does Lamar need to come up and field that?
Yeah, I'll have to look at it a little bit closer, and I'll give you a better answer tomorrow.
Matt, I hear what you're saying about the plan, but at some point, don't you just need your quarterback to make a play, and why do you think that Jordan wasn't able to make one?
Because if you're given plays where they're longer developing plays and you can't protect, it's kind of hard to throw from your back. And I thought there were a couple plays where he got out of some stuff that off-schedule play he made to Sadie's, that was unbelievable. So it's just, I'm disappointed that we didn't deal the ball faster and call things that might show a little bit quicker for him. And again, that's on me.
What would it do for his learning progression? When you look at a young quarterback, he's had his first start now. What do you think the big takeaway is going to be for Jordan Love?
I think we'll have to go back and look at it and dissect it pretty closely. But I thought all in all, just, the environment, the amount of pressure that he took and the hits that he took, and just stand in there and still deliver the ball and give us an opportunity at the end of the game. I thought that was, he showed a lot of resiliency, and I think that's a great quality to have in a quarterback.
And Matt, if this is the only game he plays this year, when you get to February and you look back on it, do you think you'll have enough to make a judgment about how far he's come and progress going forward?
Well, I think that, it's a small sample size, right? And so I thought he did a lot of great things. Again, I got to go back and look at the tape, but that's something that, we see him every day in practice. And going against a really good defense, obviously. Our D is really performing at a high level right now. So it's just one of those things, you take it day by day. And you either get better or you get worse. And we just need him to take those incremental steps and continue to get better and better and better.
Matt, towards the end of the game, you get down to Slayton, defensive line guys. What happened to Eric Stills before the game?
Yeah, so it was just a freak thing in pregame. He went up for a ball and kind of landed wrong, and we'll get further evaluation on it. But we're hopeful. I don't think it's going to be something long term. But again, I haven't sat with Flea too much about it. He came to me and said he was out, and you got to give our guys credit because we kind of had Dean Lowry on a little bit of a pitch count tonight. He was battling through some stuff, and then to lose Kenny, and I just thought that speaks volumes of those guys that are out there playing. We're playing with some young guys, and they just battle. And I thought for them to go out there and perform the way they did versus one of the best offenses in the National Football League, to hold Tyreek Hill to 3 catches for 20-some yards or whatever it was, or 4 catches for 37 yards. I thought that was a pretty darn good performance.
Ma'am, was it unique to you that the laces were not pointed correctly to the field goal?
Yeah, I definitely saw that. Yep.
And is that a holder's responsibility?
Yeah, I'm not going to get into that right now. That's something that we obviously have to get corrected, though.
2 more, please.
How do you move forward now, knowing Aaron's not going to be able to practice for the rest of the week? Do you prepare if he's going to be your starter next week? Do you try to get Jordan more valuable experience? How do you take a move into next week now?
Well, if he's not available till at the end of the week or whatever, somebody's going to take the reps. So. Again, it'll be a great opportunity for Jordan to continue to grow as a quarterback and get those reps. And then, we'll see where we're at the end of the week.
Matt, if Aaron returns when he can on November 13th, will he start against the Seahawks?
Yeah, absolutely. He's our starting quarterback. And, it's just, I think he's gone through enough where, you'd like guys to practice all week long, but I don't think it's absolutely imperative to be able to do that. We just got to make sure he's well in tune with our plan and he feels good about it, and that we zoom him in for the meetings or whatever it may be, and but we'll see where we're at towards the end of the week.
There's Packers head coach Matt LaFleur here on Sports Radio 810, and his press conference, as every opposing coach's press conference every single week is brought to you by Metcalf CarStar. If your vehicle gets sacked on the road, take it to Metcalf CarStar, the collision repair experts. They make it convenient and easy to get back on the road. Go to carstar.com and search for Metcalf CarStar. CarStar, relax. They'll take it from here. Aaron Rodgers will most likely take it from there for the Green Bay Packers, but they're still not totally sure whenever he'll be able to actually return. So a lot of questions for the Packers, despite the fact that they've only lost twice now this season. Once was in Week 1, most recently, obviously, today, as the Kansas City Chiefs were victorious. Thank you to Beards McFly and Rudy Salazar for producing the effort here today. It's the Sports Radio 810 WHB Postgame Show. It's been brought to you by Missouri Lottery and brought to you by CBD American Shaman. Free CBD samples every day. An interesting place for the Chiefs to end up here. You go through another game with some ugly football, with a couple of bright spots that make you remember what this offense can look like whenever everything is looking more like 2018, 19, and 20. The question for me from this point forward is going to be, how do they get back to that full time? Or can they at all? I'm not totally sure if at this point they've been able to completely pinpoint where their problems have arisen from. That'll be the story of the remainder of this week. And this week is also Raider week. So as if you needed anything else to circle your calendar for, anything else you wanted to learn about this team, how about a little divisional rivalry? Looking forward to this next week of action. Thank you for listening to the Sports Radio 810 WHB Postgame Show. I'm Joshua Brisco. We'll talk to you again next week. Chiefs